Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on Archive D-Style Boxing here. I'm being joined by G Funky, Christine Lopez, Milcar, Mr. Boxing today too. And from Ringside Reporter, Joe Habib. We'll have Lion Killer, Nate Campbell on, a little later. Dave Duenas from Leaving the Ring on a little later. Check out, you might see some people jumping, off and on. It's all good. It's a round table. Let's get this started. First thing is first. I want to start with the fight of the weekend. The big heavyweight championship coming here. AJ Anthony Joshua going at it with Pulev. I want to know what you guys think. Let's start with Mr. Boxing Today. How do you see this matchup, and does Pulev have a shot here? Many people giving him no shot.
Well, if you have the best jab in the division that most people think, then you definitely want to have a chance against Joshua, in my opinion. Joshua, man, it's kind of hard to know what Anthony Joshua we're going to have. Are we going to have the AJ that the previous before going into the first Ruiz fight, or are we going to have this Joshua that thinks he can move around, use his jab, box from the outside? A few things that Pulev does, and I've seen him do it against Dimitrenko, Usanov, big guys, 6'8", 250, 60-pound guys, and that's fight a little bit dirty. I think that Anthony Joshua struggles sometimes when you don't play nice with him. That referee really pissed me off in that Parker fight, because there was times, I think it's the 5th round and 8th round, where Parker looked like he was turning it up and turning into a fight. And what do I mean by a fight? I don't mean fighting from a safe distance. I'm going to use my jab. I'm talking about getting them, headlocking them, hitting with your offhand, putting the elbow under the chin against the ropes, fighting dirty, ragdoll him a little bit. AJ seems a little bit flustered when fights turn that way. But if you let him fight from a safe distance, let him fight straight downhill like he did against Brazil and Charles Martin, is going to be a virtuoso performance. But I'm not sure what AJ we have, man. Dirty tactics, like I said, give him problems. I don't necessarily think he can out jab Pulev. One thing that Pulev showed me when he fought Klitschko, he actually buzzed Klitschko with a jab, is that he can out jab you. Now, AJ just has to have a better jab that night. He may not have a better jab all around in Klitschko, but just that night. Kind of like when Carl Williams fought Larry Holmes, right? Historically, Larry Holmes has the better jab, but I thought that Carl Williams won that fight. I know they gave it to Larry, but I thought Carl Williams just out jabbed him from that night. AJ has ability to, he has good, I think he's a little bit more mobile than Pulev, so he can dart in and out with his jab, but I'm not sure he'll be able to do it though, man. Pulev out-jabbed Klitschko to me. He made Klitschko start leading with power punches, lead left hooks, lead straight right hands to counter being out-jabbed. What is Joshua going to do? How is he mentally? If he gets hit one good time, is he going to turn into a watered-down version of Ali using the back foot, or is he going to come forward and try to destroy? I'm not sure. Both these guys really don't like to go to the body. Their body work is pretty much obsolete. But like I said, though, Pulev has been in there with Travis Walker and Chisora put pressure and Huey Fury. And Huey Fury had a good 8th round against him, and that's when he came forward and just let his hands go. So him forcing Joshua into a fight may put Pulev in danger. Both of these guys, once they start opening up to go at each other, they're both going to be in danger, especially AJ, man, because once he plants his feet and starts to rip his combinations, you can catch him in between his punches, a la Andy Ruiz, a la Dillian White, and anybody else. Shit, Pavek can even stun him and bust his nose. I'm gonna go with AJ, man, because I think he's the fresher of the two, and I think he's part of this 3-headed monster for this era of heavyweights. But I definitely think Pulev has a chance, and I won't be surprised if we see AJ hit the mat and get up and get it from the dirt like he did against Klitschko. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely going with AJ in this fight, man. I'm just not sure which AJ we're going to get. And one more thing before I pass it off. See, against Ruiz in that second fight, he was able to fight from a distance and use his jab. This is a little bit different. Pulev, I seen him cut the ring off against Huey Fury. Fury, to me, has better footwork than Anthony Joshua and better head movement, and he can bend at the waist better than Anthony Joshua. Joshua, like this, he likes to, parry. He likes to duck, parry a little bit, but he wants to have all offense. I don't think he moves his head as good as Huey Fury, and I think Pulev will be able to cut the ring off better than Ruiz and touch him with a jab while he's doing it. And he loves the jab 1-2, and a punch that I think that Anthony Joshua is really susceptible to is a straight right hand. That's why I always favorite Wilder fighting him because of that, but that's a different story. But That's my opinion, man. I'm going with AJ in the fight, but I definitely think Pulev has a chance because of the intangibles, the fighting dirty. If you put a good shot on him, he isn't going to lay down and call it a night. He'll take a good shot and keep fighting. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely going with AJ, but I think it's going to be rocky before he stops Pulev.
All right. Well said. Shout out to everybody joining us here. Nopal Boxiano, Matthew Thompson, welcome. Make sure you guys share this video to all your social media platforms and hit that like button, especially if you're listening on archive. Make sure you do that. Gano Local Sports just joined us here in the chat. How is it going, man? Hey, Beeb, is it possible? You know, do you agree with some of what, you know, Mr. Boxing today said? But also, how do you see it? Do you think an upset is possible here? Can Pulev pull an upset? Will we have like another Ruiz moment?
I don't like to use the word impossible, but I'm going to say that it's very highly unlikely that Pulev wins. I do think that Mr. Boxing today is right. Pulev does have a good jab, but a lot of times he just rests on that jab, and a lot of times he doesn't follow up with anything behind that jab. He'll be content on just kind of staying out there, and if you don't really attack him, he'll just try to touch it with the jab, and he doesn't always follow up with anything behind it consistently enough. So he sometimes coasts a little bit. And Mr. Boxing today is right. When Pulev does get inside, he can make the fight sloppy. But here's a problem that I don't like when he gets inside. He does maul a little bit, and he wraps up, and he headlocks and all that, but he doesn't move his hands enough when he is up close. And a lot of times he's not landing clean shots, and he's not really working extensively on the inside. Joshua's weakness is on the inside. He's a mid-range guy. He's got a decent jab, but Joshua's jab is very lazy. He'll kind of push it out there, and then he brings it back and he drops it down by his waist, and that's why, as Mr. Boxing today also said, he can get hit with right hands because of how he brings in the jab. The biggest problem with Joshua is the transition. When Joshua is transitioning back from offense to defense, he transitions back very slowly. Joshua is very fast with his hands. He's explosive, but he likes to keep his feet planted. He's not a guy that can kind of slide back and just stop and pop on you. He likes to keep his feet planted, and he likes to operate in the mid range. So if you have someone that can get in his chest and has fast feet, a guy that can go in and out, a guy that can really move his hands on the inside, a guy that's going to work on the inside, then Joshua will have problems. But Pulev, to me, isn't that guy. I mean, I don't think he's overly dynamic. I don't think he's a very quick guy. He has good timing, but I don't think he's exceptionally quick. I don't think he has quick feet. He's 39 years old. He's got a 48% knockout ratio. 4 of his last 6 fights went the distance. He has a split decision victory over Derek Chisora. He does have a victory over Hughie Fury, which is a good win. And to his credit, Fury is a mover, and Pulev was able to kind of walk him down a little bit and outwork him. But that was, I think, because Hughie Fury was just went into survival mode in that fight. Didn't really put up much of a fight. Didn't have a lot of high output from the offensive end. So I just think that this fight could turn into a stinker because, as Mr. Boxing today said, and a lot of people will probably say, we don't know which Joshua's going to show up. It kind of reminds me of when Hector Camacho fought Edwin Rosario, and he got buzzed with that shot. He was never the same after that. He always fought, tentative in spots. Joshua against Ruiz in the second fight, to me, did not fight like a guy who was trying to win. He fought like a guy who was trying not to lose. So if he's going to come into this fight fighting not to lose and not really looking to win decisively and make a statement, then Pulev could make this fight interesting. I just don't think he has enough offensive weapons and enough firepower to really make an impact in this fight. He could win rounds. This fight could turn into a stinker, but I'm going to have to go with AJ here because I think he's quicker. I think he's the harder puncher, and I just think he's younger and fresher. But again, this could be a fight where Joshua does not set the world on fire. Joshua didn't look great against Takam, he didn't look great against Parker. This could be another fight where he doesn't look great. I don't know if he's going to hit the canvas, but I could see the jab in spots being problematic for Anthony Joshua here. The problem is you need a right hand to go behind it to get Joshua's respect. And if he's not going to step in with that right hand consistently enough, then that could be a problem for him. So I'm going to go with Joshua. And I think this fight does go the distance. I think this is going to be maybe an uneventful 12-round unanimous decision for Anthony Joshua.
Gotcha. All right. Hey, shout out to Kenny Caraway from ESPN Radio out there in Sacramento. All right. Amilcar, I'm going to go to you, man. Are you ready to make that 100% prediction and hit on it this time?
No. A lot of you guys have said a lot of the things I was going to say, or not a lot of you, but those that have missed the boxing today. You know, those of you who listened to our show on Monday would have heard me refer to Anthony Joshua's Huggy Bear. And that's what I kind of see him as. You know, I grew up in the 80s. I watched a lot of reruns of bad 70s TV, and Huggy Bear was the character from the old Starsky and Hutch show, who was then played by Snoop Dogg in the movie version. And since the Klitschko fight, Anthony Joshua has been Huggy Bear. He doesn't like it on the inside. Whenever he's in there rough with someone who's got a little bit of hand speed and can go to the body, he hugs. And when he's not hugging, he tries to stay on the outside. And just as Joe Habib just said, he fought to survive. He didn't fight to win. I have not seen the offensively minded Anthony Joshua that fought Dillian White in a very long time. He wasn't there for the Takam fight. He wasn't there for the Parker fight. And the referee, Giuseppe Quattarone, who allowed Joshua to get away with, you know, essentially holding, grabbing, and not fighting Joseph Parker anytime that there were possibilities for inside exchanges, really allowed him to get away with a victory that I felt was really unfair towards Joseph Parker. Joshua's lucky that this fight's happening in the UK, because I think that he does get protected there a little bit more than he would if he had to fight here in the United States. And I don't have anything against Anthony Joshua, but he has just not been the same since the Klitschko fight. And again, just as Joe said, he's been fighting to kind of survive fights. And as soon as he got touched and buzzed by Ruiz, he was fighting to survive. He fought the entire fight in the rematch to survive. But the unfortunate thing here is that I don't think that Kubrat Pulev has the hand speed and the inside game to trouble Joshua in this fight. I think that Joshua, if he's allowed to use the grab and hold tactics and to box from the outside and kind of mix up those two tactics, it's going to be enough to beat Kubrat Pulev, who, let's face it, it's been years since he was at the top of his game. Now, granted, he's beat everybody he's faced except Klitschko, but it's been a while since Kubrat Pulev has faced a top-level heavyweight. And I got to say, I'm amazed that Mr. Nate Campbell's here with us. So
I was going to say a shout-out to
huge
Galaxy Warriors in the house.
Milcar wanted to keep talking.
Galaxy Warriors in the house.
Stop it.
What's going on, Big Nate?
Galaxy Warriors.
Hey, stop it. I'm a representative. I am not Nate Campbell, the Galaxy Warrior right now. I'm the representative.
You always be the Galaxy Warrior.
We're always going to be the Galaxy Warrior.
Man.
Cut it out.
My daughters remind me every day I'm just granddad to my kids. This is my grand-
Well, that's cool.
So that's pretty much what I got to say on it.
Definitely. Make sure you guys jab my like button. Okay, we have the Galaxy Warrior here. Hey,
What's going
Nate
on,
Campbell.
Big Boxing Dragon Style? How y'all doing, man?
Yeah, doing good,
man. What's going on? I cannot pronounce that name. Amicalar?
Yeah, Milcar.
Milcar.
Amilcar. How you doing? And last but never least, how you doing, Queen Lopez?
Hello, how are you, champ?
All
I'm
right,
doing
all
well,
right.
Thank you.
Speaking of Queen Lopez, we only got her for another 30 minutes. And I just want to
I can't be on long. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I have to be up at 5:30 in the morning.
All right.
Oh,
I have clients at 5 every morning. Lion Killer tell you, he calls me, and I'm gonna stay on as long as I can. He
Sure.
calls me. I end up eating on the show. Y'all see me drinking? I end up eating on the show. We doing the show.
I love
Y'all think I'm just being unprofessional, bro. I'm
No.
eating hummus. I'm on diet again. So y'all look out for me. I might make an appearance at somebody's fight.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Especially while the legend's coming back, you might be coming
Yes.
back.
Let's
Who
go,
knows?
baby.
Well,
Let's go, baby.
Just so y'all know Roy Jones, my big brother. He already calling me, like nudging me. He nudging me. Come on, man.
No, wait,
Get that bag.
I'll never forget. I mean, Baby Bull Diaz was on a roll, and you went to Mexico and beat him down. I mean, I did not see that coming. That was a hell of a performance.
Thank y'all so much, man. I think about it. You know, that happened one day after my 36th birthday. Making me I'm the oldest first time lightweight champion ever. First time ever do that. I was a grandfather already. My daughters was talking trash, telling me come back with that strap, come back with the chip. You know what I'm saying? And my daughters, I don't know if my daughters have ever come on. I'm trying to get all three of my daughters on, but my girls they boxing heads, and they don't do today's boxers. They don't do today's boxers. Like they like Errol. My daughter Jade loves Errol Spence and the Charlos, but if you say Anthony Joshua, that's like cussing. We don't do him around here. And I don't know him as a person, but as a fighter, as my mama say, as a fighter, I'd rather watch paint dry.
Oh,
Amilcar just told 100% truth about it. I thought for sure he was trying to rape that boy he fought in the rematch. The fat boy Andy, he was hugging him so much. I said, "Look, is he rubbing his private part?"
tell us how you really feel, Nate. You know, hey, shout out to the Lion Killer, by the way. Everybody subscribe to Lion Killer podcast here on YouTube. I want to ask you, Nate. I mean, how do you see this fight? You know, AJ, this is an easy win for AJ. You think an upset's possible? How do you see it?
Upset is possible, but if the boy had a chance, they wouldn't have made the fight. That's what y'all got to realize. Right now, Anthony Joshua is trying to maximize and make as much money for nothing as possible, and that's most of the guys fighting today. Most of the guys fighting today come in on the A side and they'll fight any crackhead they can get.
All right. What about you, Lion Killer? How do you see this fight? AJ Pulev, that is.
You're on
Can't
mute,
hear
bro.
you. You're on mute. Yeah, you're muted. And I can't unmute you because it says, okay, there you go.
Right. Maybe 4 to 6 round fight. That's how I see it. Pulev is a shell of himself. If he can go back to form and establish that jab, that could be disruptive for Joshua initially. I don't know if he can do that at this point. So it's really a matter of how motivated Joshua is and whether or not he's not tepid going into the fight. You know, usually when we see Anthony Joshua, you get the tale of two cities when it comes to him as a heavyweight. So the way I see it, he's the logical choice to win. Pulev might surprise. I mean, Povetkin did it. Povetkin surprised it this year. So I'm not out of the bag on that one either. So.
And it is heavyweight boxing, so you're not lying with that one. Christine Lopez, talk to us. How do you see
Yes,
this?
well, you know, I was about to say that I was going to be the odd man/woman out until Nate got on. You know, I was at Pulev's last fight, hearing Roach in California. He was on the other undercard, and he fought Rydell Booker. You know who Rydell Booker is? No, you don't. It went all rounds.
All you dudes were nodding your heads.
He couldn't do anything.
I know Rydell
couldn't
Booker, I'm a
finish
fighter.
it.
Right,
exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. But most of the world doesn't know who he is. And he couldn't stop him. He couldn't finish him. I could just see that he's starting to slow down. And it goes back to the amateur career. I believe he was a 2-time Olympian, Pulev, and everything's catching up with him. And I agree with Nate. You know, this fight is the perfect fight for AJ. He's going to win. And he needs to regain his, I guess, the fans' confidence in him. And this is the perfect fight for him. I agree with Lion Killer. It'll go 4 to 6 rounds, and that's it. It's not going to go the distance.
I mean,
All
the
right.
biggest thing Pulev's done in the past few years was kiss that lady on the lips. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly. That
people
would
have known
absolutely,
about Pulev.
Yep.
absolutely.
That's all
Just-
I remember about him is Me Too. That's it.
Oh wow.
Hey,
Mhm,
Get out.
right.
I will.
Hilarious.
Hey, I will say this about Rydell though. He's not the easiest person just to knock out though. I know Rydell
Rydell's a
spent 14
solid
years
guy.
in prison, and then he got out and he fought the
Yes.
prospect. He fought Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin could get him out of there. I know. He just got stopped by Herkovich, and he got stopped on his feet. But he's not just the easiest person to look great against. So I will. Give
No,
that to
absolutely
Rydell.
not. He was put there to make Pulev look good, and he didn't. I mean, Pulev didn't look good.
Hey, by the way, I sent the email. Everybody wear red. Like only 2 people listen.
I
I'm
know,
just-
right?
Right.
But-
No, I'm
but-
just kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, Gene Funky, talk to us. How do you see this matchup, man?
I'm not a big fan of the matchup, to be honest with you. And
You're not
you know,
pumped?
again, I mean, heavyweight boxing. You know, anything could happen. We all know that. But I mean, honestly, I think Joshua, after seeing what he did against Ruiz in his last bout, I think that's probably going to be the route he's going to be taking most of the time now. You know, I personally think he's very chinny, to be honest with you, and I think that's why he did what he had to do against Ruiz. You know, he didn't want to get touched with something big, you know, from that guy who was almost 300 pounds, you know. But I think that's what he's going to do here. I think he's going to utilize some movement, stay on the outside. Pulev's just too old, man, too old, and he's just not what he used to be. And I personally, I just never thought he was that good. I mean, he's okay, you know, but especially now that he's almost 40, I think this is going to be some easy work for Joshua. But you know, anything could happen, man. I'm hoping something does, you know, to make an exciting fight. But I mean, I don't want to be too down on it, but I think Joshua is the far better fighter at this point, and I'm going to take him to cruise to a UD in this one.
All righty then. Look, as far as I see it, I do see a knockout. I mean, look, I understand that Joshua and Klitschko are not the same fighter, but Klitschko stopped them. What was it, 5 or 6 rounds? And I understand that, you know, fighters could improve. Fighters have different styles, but honestly, I think like the problems he had with Ruiz are not going to translate in this fight. Like Ruiz was a shorter fighter, you know, small neck, could take a big punch. You know what I mean? Has much faster hands than a Pulev, and was a big danger on the inside. I just don't think that's going to be the case here. And like Klitschko, I just think that Joshua's going to have an easier time with guys around his height. You know, so I think he'll be all right. I'm going to go with a more athletic and more gifted fighter out of the 2. But the jab could be a problem, no doubt about that. I want to, yeah, go ahead.
Don't forget that left hook. That's one thing that we're forgetting about Pulev. He actually, I think it was the Dimitrenko fight and the Ustinov fight where he caught them and finished them with left hooks. And that's a problem for AJ is that left hook. Klitschko's landing it at will. Andrew Ruiz, obviously. And I think Dillian White caught him with a left hook. So we know how Joshua is with these left hooks, man. You know, so be careful with that left hook.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we are going to touch a little more on heavyweight boxing, but Christine has to go in a little bit, you know.
Sorry. Film
well,
study.
it is what it is. But there's a topic you wanted to talk about, Christine, which we're going to touch on right now. So just really quick, whoever wants to pass on the subject, you're more than welcome to. But we'll get back to heavyweight boxing talk. But Christine, I see a lot of women right now, female fighters, right? Women fighters complain about pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do empathize to a certain degree, you know what I mean?
Right.
But there are some things I don't quite agree with, but we could touch on that. But can you elaborate exactly what you wanted to talk about?
Well, yeah. So Lou DiBella Entertainment, he sent out a press release December 2nd, you know, and he talks about women not having a platform, not having a home. And a lot of these promoters, you know, don't want to highlight these women or give them, you know, the money that they deserve. And so he has a campaign out there. We keep fighting. # we keep fighting. A really good friend of mine, Julie Gold, called me. I'm sure that most of y'all probably know who she is. If you know, all the people in boxing, PR person, Andre Ward, Crawford, Shakur, and many more. And she said, "Hey, Christine, you know, can you get on board?" I was like, "Absolutely." I've heard it all. You know, women are not as exciting. They don't get the ticket sales, blah, blah, blah. The thing is like right now we're in a pandemic. We're in COVID. So it's not about the ticket sales because we can't even have an audience. So what is it? You know, yes, Nate, I'm going to call on you. You got to unmute.
Yeah, you are on mute, but I don't know if that's on purpose.
You're
but
on
you're
mute.
on mute.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Stop. Stop. I'm not standing up for now one of them. And I mean it like I'm finna say it. And I don't care how mad they get. I support women's boxing, 100%. But if you telling me that you want me to pay to see them go the distance every time with no chance of knocking each other out, I'm keeping my money.
Oh,
What about?
I'm gonna say this here. Wait a minute, and I'm gonna say this. And then when you putting them in with somebody's great grandmama or auntie who ain't got no pedigree, y'all don't really want to have this conversation with me, do you? Because I'm gonna tell you the whole story.
Of course. No.
I love
Obviously, they do, though.
I totally love women boxing. I've been supporting women's boxing since way back when.
Can I say this, Christine? And I'll let you continue. But let me say this. So here's my gripe, right? And when I have women on, I interview them. I let them give I don't debate them live on the air, nothing, but I let them say what they want because I want to gather what they're saying. But I got to tell you, the way a lot of these women fighters talk today is a lot different than when I interviewed Christy Martin. She talks about it a lot different.
Oh, love her.
And you were there, right? She talked about opportunity. She talked about taking advantage of the stage
absolutely
and being thankful being on Mike Tyson undercard, Chavez undercard, all that stuff, right? So she understood that that's and she ended up making a lot of money, you know, boxing, right? But these women today, I mean, look, me, like the way I see it, hey, I'm all for equal opportunity, right? I want both sexes to be treated equally. So I say, have the women fight 3 minutes, just like the men.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
But when I bring that up and I'm trying to back them up, the response I get is, well, no, not they're not going to pay me more money. I need to get paid more if you want me to fight 3 minutes. Yeah, but
I don't agree with that.
Women already get paid as much as men. Do you know women make more money if you go scale for scale? When you coming up, women was making $200 a round when I was making $100. Y'all don't know that, but I do.
Well, I didn't. And that's what I was going to ask.
Women's pay scale now. If you get talking numbers, stop it. Who want to see? Look, tell me how many knockout artists y'all got as women.
No, that's my point. That's my point. Do you think that if they did go the 3 minutes, that we would see more knockouts? That's my question.
Here's what I would say.
You see less punches.
Well, you know what? Let me say this. So the argument I make, and I understand Nate already disagreed with it, but let me put it out anyway. If you fight more time, you're more likely to see a knockout, right?
Absolutely.
That's the way I see it. Also, because, like, for example, we had Suleiman, and she gave us their anecdotal example, but she gave us examples of, you know what, there are times where I had a girl hurt, and then the bell rang. I feel like if I had another minute, I could have probably stopped her. You know what I mean?
But don't you think that they would probably try to pace themselves a little bit more if the rounds were longer, and they may slow it down a bit?
Depending on their conditioning.
In the age of equality.
That's what you were trying to say, right, Nate?
Right.
In the age of equality, I think all things should be equal. Women should have 3 rounds. They should have 3 rounds just like the men. They should go 12 rounds just like the men. And you should see who wins. I think you really would see an increase in knockouts due to fatigue. Number one, due to attrition. So also, D-Style, going back to your point, you said Lou DiBella. You had mentioned Lou DiBella at the top of this question.
Well, he put out the press release. Yeah, he put out the press release.
What is Lou DiBella doing with the women fighters that he has now? Because if I remember correctly, Hannah Gabriels is at the top of his promotion. and what has he done with her in the last year? I mean, so
I'm not sure if Lou DiBella, correct me if I'm wrong, if he has the TV time that some of the other promoters do, and I think that's really what he's trying to press for.
Well, he's effectively been downgraded to. I'm sorry, Christine.
Amanda Serrano's with him too, right?
But he's been effectively downgraded to a regional promoter. He's not a national guy anymore.
But so we're not all over the place. It's just, you know.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to say. All right, and I want to take it back to Christine because we don't have her for long, right? Like, it's like this to me. Like I've never heard a flyweight fighter say, it's bullshit that the heavyweight champion of the world makes more money than me. Like, because they wouldn't say that because they know they're not going to make that much money. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing, you know. But I would argue that, you know, Taylor, I mean, she probably makes more money than 99% of the men out there, in all honesty.
Who?
Katie Taylor.
Katie Taylor.
Irish
Well,
fighter.
let me tell y'all something. Tell me how much women. Tell me what y'all know women are making right now.
Well, it depends, I guess, on the level.
I
Yeah.
think the biggest issue is just that there's not enough talent across all of
Katie-
these.
Katie-
Exactly. That's the main.
Katie Taylor, though, but Katie Taylor may be the highest paid female fighter out there right
How much
Yeah.
is she making?
now. Probably about 200 to 300,000 a fight.
Do you know what my highest fight purse was?
Yours?
Yeah,
I want to say 3 million.
I never made $1 million in my whole career.
Mm.
Now, Christine, hold on, Christine.
300,000?
Hold on, Christine. I'm finna say something to you. And not now woman you talking about can beat me right now. Not now woman you talking about
Nick,
can beat me
argue
now.
that.
I sure
I
hope
will
not,
argue
Nick.
that.
Right? I mean,
Come on,
48-year-old, fat, out of shape, walk around the ring and breathe heavy and knock anybody I want to out right now. Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you.
Let me keep my hands up.
And I say this to show you this. I had 3 world championships. Nobody had that many. And I still never made more than $500,000 at one time.
I could have sworn you made $1 million for the one day is.
Well,
I mean,
let's clear this up,
On
Nate.
paper, I made $250,000.
Hey, Nate,
I
are you
was a
saying
pony.
that they should stay
I
at
was a
2 minutes?
B-side.
Hey, Nate, are you saying that they should stay at 2 minutes or they should fight 3 minutes, just like the men?
Dude, listen to me. What they want is $1 million paydays, but they ain't got $1 million fights to be made.
No, the fights aren't out there right now.
The fights ain't out there. No offense. Tell me what 2 women you want to see fight right now that's worth $1 million a piece.
The only way any of them make that money is if Layla Ali comes back from retirement.
I want to see. I want to see Savannah
Hold on.
Marshall. I want to see Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, me too.
I want to see Hannah Gabriel's rematch with Clarissa Shields.
Yeah, but that's
All
not
right.
$1 million.
But those ain't $1 million fights.
No, they're not. They're not.
And
Those
in
ain't
fairness,
$1 million
though,
fights.
in fairness, like a lot of Berto fights weren't $1 million fights. When he was fighting on HBO, he was getting a cool million, you know.
Dude, let me tell y'all something. Y'all got a warped view of what money's out there. And women have to even and I'm gonna say this, don't take this the wrong way, Christine. Y'all are the problem. You people are the problem. Women are the problem. Y'all
Women gotta support the women.
I wouldn't give a rat's ass, and that's the problem.
Okay,
The problem
let's
is-
talk about that, G Funky. Where is the women's support? Why aren't women flocking to women's boxing? Christine, I want to ask you that. Why aren't women? Why is it like this is how I feel sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a boxing fan. I've been a boxing fan my whole life. If there's a women boxing fight, I'll watch it. But I almost feel like,
Right.
hey, well, you better support at the same level or else. Or you men, you're the sexist. You're this, you're that. Where are the women? Why aren't the women supporting? Because I'll tell you,
I agree
now,
with you.
women support women's gymnastics like there's no tomorrow, but they don't watch. They don't watch men's gymnastics. They don't get the ratings like
Women-
that.
Black women outnumber black men 3.4 to 1 in this country. How come Clarissa Shields don't have 1 million views, just women tuning in? You want to know why? Nobody likes her.
Wow.
And, hey, that's not a shot. That's not a shot. I'm telling you what other women told me.
I know it's not a shot. You just shoot just naturally. It is what it is.
I just tell the truth. I got a friend of mine. I won't call her names. She said we don't want to watch her fight. We don't want to watch her fight. Say the stuff she says make it hard for regular everyday women. She said, "Can you imagine her talking about she can support? I can beat a man, and then you got granddaughters that gonna end up fighting boys." Look how many transgender females are running track now. I don't care what y'all say. Those are boys in dresses.
That's a great point. That's
I
a great
agree.
point. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's why I fight as hard as I do. I want women to get paid what they're worth. I think you should get paid what the market demands you get paid by the work you put in.
What's fair?
That's fair. And for me at the time, I couldn't get a better deal. And nobody wanted to fight me because nobody wanted to fight me. I had to take the short end of the money, even as champion. Nobody was standing in line and say, "I'll fight Nate Campbell." You ain't heard nobody say that did it. You ain't heard it.
Not at
I
lightweight.
was too much. They told somebody said, I had a guy tell me, say, you are too much risk for the reward. The reward is not worth what the risk is.
I hear you.
And so I understand that. But I want Carissa Shields to make $1 million. I want these girls, but is it there? I'm gonna give y'all even better. I'm gonna liken it to this. When y'all heard them women basketball players talking all that foolishness, talking about they don't make it, I'm thinking to myself, until you start putting that rock back and dunking it from the free throw line, and we start coming to see y'all play, dude, do you realize that we can put most of their games in a high school arena?
Hey, Nate,
Y'all want the truth?
Y'all
want the truth? Y'all want to lie? I'm finna give it to you. I got a couple kids that play high school ball. I got I got a few guys that play high school basketball that will beat everybody in the female league.
Hey, we got one right here, Mr. Bucks. You'll be dunking on them all day, right? Hey, but I just want to go around and get everybody's take really quick. Chief, Funky, what's your take really quick?
I think women got to step it up, man, and support the women boxers. I know it's difficult, because I said, for me, it was difficult to start watching women's boxing because I was raised to protect the women, not to let them fight. So that was a hard transition for me. But it's just it's just the way it is. Women don't, a lot of women don't like boxing, but they like to look at the men. So it's kind of weird, because they'll watch the men box, but they won't watch the women box, So
but then we get called the sexist.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Hey, y'all think it's bad for y'all? Millicard and Mr. Boxing and Lion Killer. What company do black men own to tell them that black women can't make the same money as everybody else? None. But we get dogged out.
What about Hispanic women?
First of all, y'all black. Y'all blackish. Y'all blackish. Y'all don't accept it. Y'all blackish.
This is my co-host, boy. That's my boy.
Yeah, that's what it's all about right there. Hey, B, really quick though, just quick. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Well, the biggest fight we've had, in female boxing in the last 5 years was Christina Hammer versus Clarissa Shields.
Yeah,
and that really didn't. I mean,
it was a stinker.
It just didn't do a lot of buzz. There wasn't a lot of buzz behind it. They didn't make $1 million each. So again, what I think is maybe adding the 3-minute rounds could help a little bit. Probably putting some of these female fighters on undercards because a lot of these female fighters want a headline. And what did Christy Martin do? She used to go on the undercards of Tyson and all them. So maybe these female fighters need to kind of swallow their pride a little bit and go on some of the undercards of some of the men fights to get more exposure.
Joe, are you saying so basically an affirmative action? So every fight card should at least have a female boxing match. No, I'm serious.
I'm not gonna go as far as saying that, but
sometimes things are necessary to get people conditioned.
If everyone talks at the same time, no one could hear everybody, right? Go ahead, Nate.
But now you're gonna force me to watch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hey, Milcar, really quick.
You can take a snack break during that one.
Yo, Christine's got to go in a little bit. Milcar, give me some quick thoughts on this really quick.
I mean, my main thought beyond the rounds is that you look at all the sports where women are successful. I mean, the main one is tennis. And then you got other sports like track and field and even, mixed martial arts. The difference between these sports and boxing is that a lot more women do these sports. There's a lot of talent across these sports. How many times do we watch women's boxing? It's like all kind of weird catch weight fights, and some woman's coming from way up, another woman's coming from way down. There's not enough talent in the sport for people to actually care and want to watch fights because most of the fights are not competitive. Most of the Clarissa Shields fights we've seen have not been competitive fights at all. They've been Clarissa Shields beating up on much smaller women, right, that have no shot, and let's be honest, who don't have good boxing skill. Yeah. So until more women participate in boxing from a very young age, the way women practice judo and track and field and taekwondo and tennis and all these other sports where women are successful and almost on parity with men, or if not even higher than men, because in tennis, women actually make more than men do because of not just the the purses that they get from the tournaments, like the Grand Slams, would also be endorsement
The
deals.
sponsorships.
Yeah. Until that happens, we can't really talk about men's boxing and women's boxing being equal, because they're just two different sports, almost on two totally different planets with regards to participation and talent. So I'm just going to say that.
All right, and Lion Killer, give us some thoughts really quick.
I mean, I like where Joe was going with seeing more fights, women maybe having to swallow a little bit of pride. I'll go further and say there probably needs to be a percentage of women's fights on cards so that people are conditioned to get into women's boxing. If you never know what's going to happen. When they started doing it in the UFC, it started out slow, and then they kept putting them on. They kept putting them on. Then they had a Ronda Rousey. They had a bona fide star. If you want to go back earlier, they had an old girl in Bellator whose name slips my mind at the moment, who was pretty much the first pseudo women's MMA star. So if you integrate female boxing into the cards, you may get there in a few years, and you may have a groundswell of excitement and popularity. Sure. Clarissa Shields is not going to do it on her own, and honestly, Nate's right. She burns more bridges than she's building. That's the perception of her. So you need someone that's an antithesis to her, and that's how you got to look at it. So that's my thought.
Yeah. And Mr. Boxing, did you want to add anything as far as pay?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of what Lion Killer was saying. You got to integrate them into the cards. You got to promote them better. Women, they have to be more marketable. I mean, look at what the UFC did with Rousey. They literally had people thinking she can beat up men. I mean, that's how much the hype train was behind her. Look what they did with Rousey when they put her on the front cover of the ring. And I know Oscar or, people that's with him, they own it, is different now. But you got to just market them better, man. And knockout sales. So unless you give me like a reincarnation of like Ann Wolf or something, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I don't want to see, just decision every single time.
Yeah.
And a lot of women I know, man, they don't like getting punched in the face, man. I was being honest with you. I don't know too many women that just raise their hand to get punched in the face and want to go into this type of sport, man. But just better promote it, more, make them more marketable. Join, put them in the WWE, anything to cross over, man, because that's what builds stars, was when you cross over into different genres, being more music video. I mean, something to catch our eye, because right. Clarissa Shields is a damn Olympian, world champion, and she's still not catching people's eye. And that's literally a person with a medal and a championship.
She got two. She got two gold medals.
It's the package too.
And that usually means stardom, but it doesn't in this case.
Well, that's the thing that the UFC has that unfortunately female boxing doesn't, which is they can end fights with submissions. So they don't only knock out a woman to win and do that exciting, but a lot of people that watch UFCs like to see submissions, and a woman can submit another woman more easily than a woman can knock out another woman.
That's true, exactly. And let me just go back to Christine. Give us some final thoughts on this topic. I don't know. Like we lost the. We're going to be called the Sexist Podcast now, but it's okay. We need you to save us. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, give us some thoughts before you got to go.
This is what I want to say, Dragon Style. This is what I want to say. So you asked me, how come women aren't supporting women? Women are. I'm a woman, but women are funny creatures. By nature, we in every facet of boxing, and I've done a lot of the facets in boxing. There was no other female to help me and to school me and to like mentor me. So that's why I personally try to do that. That's why I'm on the platform now and I'm speaking about it, because I do want to support. And Mr. Boxing said, I don't know any women that want to be punched in the face. Well, I don't know any men that want to be punched in the face, but I can tell you this. I work with the top elite amateurs at this moment, and I've dealt with many pro females too that come to camp with us, and they have never complained about being punched in the face. The thing that they do complain about is that in amateurs you get 3 minutes, the women do, but in the pros they want that to transfer over. They're used to those 3 minutes. They want those 3 minutes. Lion Killer, I totally agree with you. Integrate them. One bout of a female boxers going at it, so that these little girls can see their role models on the screen. But if they don't see it because there's only men, how are they going to aspire to be a boxer? How are they going to feel that they can do it? Because there are so few. And I think we got to start somewhere. And I think it's time.
So you go again. So again, you gonna make me choose. You gonna make me say with the undercard. Or most times the undercard is already shit.
Well, that's what I was
really
gonna say,
real.
champ. That's what I was gonna say, champ. If you're already watching shit, then it's gonna be okay. Like if there's some bouts that aren't very exciting, it'll be okay.
At least those two shitty men have a chance of knocking each other out.
Okay, but like
That's
I
my
said,
point.
still sure.
Well-
but like I said, if you're already
Yeah,
gonna have to
Christine, I'm
watch,
telling y'all, I'm up to here with equality. That's not really equal. I'm up to here with it because if two men kept putting on crappy performances, y'all wouldn't keep saying pay them more money.
I really wish somebody would have told Jacobs and Rosado that they could knock each other out. I know that, but Jacobs and Rosado, that was one of the worst fights.
I'm gonna tell you something. The Lion Killer said something the other day. He is done with Danny Jacobs, and a lot of people are done with Danny Jacobs.
I am.
And I'm not. I love Danny Jacobs. I'm not gonna say that. But what I will
I'll say it
is
for
this.
you.
I'll say it too.
I knew you would. I knew you would. I don't have to say it. But
yes.
Christine, I say this with the most look.
Sure.
Do you want my thing is this here? Do y'all know who my chief sparring partner was for a year and a half? When I first started boxing and I went pro for a year and a half, I had a female chief sparring partner. Do y'all know who it was?
And Wolf?
No, Chevelle Hallback. If you know boxing, you know Chevelle Hallback. That was my chief sparring. Chevelle would get a lot of them guys the business in that gym. But guess what?
I hear you.
There was one or two guys that me being one, that could do what they wanted to her. Because guess what? At the end of the day, once those guys caught up, they caught up. You get what I'm saying? My thing is this here. I love Chevelle Hallback. I made sure Chevelle got the bag. I made sure of it. And I tell anybody that. That's my baby. I love her to death. So it ain't about me. It ain't about me being an asshole, but I'm gonna have to be the asshole. That's what I'm good at. Y'all really want to know why a lot of men don't really break their neck to go watch women's boxing? Y'all really want to know the truth?
You about to get there. I already see it.
Oh, I'm going because it's the truth, and don't nobody want to hear it. We don't want to see two feminine little boys fight each other. We can go watch two regular. Yes, I said it. I said it. And men have said that to me out their own mouth. Y'all don't want to hear the truth, but this the truth.
Michaela Mayer, Hannah Gabriel's, they are beautiful, not boy-looking girls. That's for damn
How many
sure.
of them do you got? I bet for every one you call out, I can count 5 that look like my little brother.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Nick, you know you would not refuse and turn down a date with Christina Hammer. You would not turn down a date with Christina Hammer.
Hold up.
Oh,
All right.
shit. You really want me to go there? You really want me to go there? I could go there all night. For everyone you
in a moment, but hold up.
Hey, let D-Style roll.
Time out. All right. Hey, Christine, I know you got to go. Give us some final words and head out.
No, I just want to say, like always, it's been a pleasure. I love being part of this. I want to see more women in boxing. I want to see more little girls, saying, I want to be like her when I grow up, so that we can have more exciting fights and great matchups. There's nobody to fight. So yes, some of them are fighting, 40, 50-year-olds or somebody who doesn't really know how to box, but I'm hoping that will change. And I also want to make a change and support my women, because a lot of women don't support women, and I want to be one that does.
Man, some of you dudes are texting me instead of putting in the chat saying, Nate's been saying what I've been thinking. Put in the chat.
Be man, goddammit.
Put your chest out. Put in the chat.
Yes.
I got all daughters. I got all daughters and all granddaughters. I got one grandson, but I'm all for women getting the bag. But I tell my granddaughters, I'm not just giving you a trophy because you compete. I hate that. That's the worst thing that could ever happen. Everybody get a trophy. Everybody get a trophy.
No second, third place trophies, Nate. No second, third place trophies.
No participation ribbons.
I'll take the cash.
I'm talking participation ribbons. I'm talking about
first or last.
No, I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah. Hey,
wait a minute. I'm gonna say this up before you go, Christine. Now
Okay.
when they fight for the WBC belt, they hang a little trinket on their neck, even when they lose. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Oh, I hate
You get,
I don't agree with that.
you get the medallion.
It's made of fool's
Hey,
gold.
I'm sorry, but I saw them getting them things out the other day. I told my daughter, I said, "What the hell?" My daughter said, "That's some bullshit, daddy. That's some bullshit."
You get a T-shirt too, Nate. You get a T-shirt too.
Just for the record, I mean, Nate Campbell has his opinion. That's all I'm saying. You know,
Now, hey, y'all. Hey, if y'all didn't know what y'all was getting, now you know.
absolutely. I thought we weren't going to get the Galaxy. All right, but here he is, everybody. All right.
No, I appreciate you all. I have film study in about 10 minutes.
I think you're ducking Nate, is what I think.
No, you knew this. You knew this prior.
Hey, Chrissy, hit me later. Hit me later after you get through.
Sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right,
Definitely.
Christine. Thanks for
Thank
jumping
y'all
on.
so much. Y'all have been
Hey, Christine.
great. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Bye.
Secret thing.
Bye.
All right. There we go.
Now we can talk.
Hey, I just
In the ring
got
with Christine.
a text that Debo died, man, from
seen
Friday.
I seen that.
Oh,
Yeah,
Zeus.
How-
Zeus.
Wow.
62.
Tiny
62.
Lister died?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no way.
oh,
I was
wow.
just talking about him today.
It's on TMZ.
Dang, man.
yeah.
Shame, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
man.
wow.
Zeus.
Damn, man.
Bill Holt's Bard. Remember that? The little.
yeah.
That's
Oh,
Zeus.
man.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Corey
rest in
Bliss.
peace, man. Rest in peace to him, man. That's
Yeah,
sad.
man.
I mean, hey, let's get back to this heavyweight boxing talk, guys. You got to tune into the round table, the Leave It in the Ring round table. Make sure you throw press that like button. I promise you it will not buzz you or kill you or something like that. You know what I mean? It's free to do it. Share this on all your social media platforms and tell us what you think in the chat. We see you guys, trolls and all. Check it out. Mr. Boxing Today, I want to go to you here. And I want to pose this question to everybody. So first you, would you rather see, if you had an option, if it was up to you, would you rather see undisputed at heavyweight next year, right? Joshua, Fury, or a trilogy with Wilder and Fury? Which one of those two options, if you could only pick one for 2021, which one would you pick?
Well, I got to stay consistent from the very first time I made a YouTube video 10 years ago. I want to see undisputed. I haven't seen undisputed. Well, we haven't seen an undisputed champion. What, it's been
20
since
years.
1999. That was the rematch of Lewis versus Holyfield, right? So, yeah, man. Then we have to go through the Klitschko era where it was two brothers, they're blood brothers, not going to fight each other. So we have to stick with the two-headed monster. Dude, I am like starving for an undisputed fight right now. I know that Joshua and Fury, a lot of rigmarole is going on right now between those two, but I want to see undisputed. I've been talking about undisputed, man, when Parker had a belt and Joshua had two and Wilder had one, and now it's down to just Tyson Fury and Joshua. So in short, I want to see undisputed by far. Not even close.
Okay. Dave, you just came in here. What's going on, man?
What's going on? What's going on? How you doing, brothers?
97
Good,
Rump.
man.
I'm posing the question.
Let's
If
go.
you had an option, undisputed or trilogy at heavyweight?
Undisputed. Trilogy about what? About Tyson and Wilder?
Fury and Wilder, yes.
Yeah, I don't think anybody really cares for it, to tell you the truth. You know?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm excited about where it's going.
Is that Grandpa Campbell there? It is,
Yeah,
man.
one more time talk about me. You don't know me like that.
Hey, Nate, used to have you on Leave the Ring all the time. I remember when we had you on with Timothy Bradley, and Bradley didn't come in. His reception was really bad. And you told him, you said, hey, Bradley, you need to get away from those Metro phones, man. You got to get off those Metros and get yourself a real phone.
And the bad part about it was I had a Metro at the time, too. My cousin did better. He had a cheap Metro, though.
Oh, wow.
You did.
What do you say to that? Hey, Nate, what about you? Trilogy or undisputed?
I don't care if Deontay Wilder ever fight again. I don't think I'll ever watch. I don't care who he fight. If he fought a KKK Klan member, I'd probably bet on a Klan member.
Oh, come on, Nate.
I damn sure said it. I said it again. Dude, I'm just different like that, dude. Hey, that dude sitting up top up there, he know what time it is. When he went at Mark Breland, he lost me forever, bro. Until he openly apologizes, I'm done.
I'm
I'm
gonna
done with it.
apologize. He's not gonna apologize.
All right.
And guess what? I'd rather get my ball slammed in the car door than watch him fight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nate. No, you
I'll,
didn't.
I wouldn't go that far, Nate. I wouldn't go that far.
Hey,
Come
my
on.
money's on Wilder over the Klansman for sure. You know, but hey, Amilcar.
Y'all asked for
I
this
really
tonight. I was
asked
minding
you.
my business, by the way.
Trilogy or undisputed, Amilcar?
I mean, I've been saying it on this show, and I've been saying it for months on the Leave It in the Ring main show. I have no interest in a trilogy fight. I mean,
Nobody does.
he couldn't beat.
Don't say that, Dick. That ain't true.
He lost
Hey,
150
go ahead.
pounds and was like a fat shell of what he used to be. And you know, in the 12th round, he was getting rocked by that dude. And then in the second fight, he got his ass kicked and couldn't take it and made every kind of excuse under the sun. And as Nate just said, the straw was throwing his trainer under the bus. Mark
Indeed.
Breland, Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, I know that.
The guy who essentially taught him the only boxing he knows, because we know JD's didn't really teach him that much. Okay. His jab was all Mark Breland. Turning his right hand into a straight right was all Mark Breland. If you look back at how Wilder used to fight, I mean, it was Mark Breland that shaped him into what he was, into turning him into the guy that did what he did against Dominic Breazeale and others. I've got no interest in seeing him fight again, man.
Okay.
And
All right. Okay.
I don't. And after what he said about Fury too, if I'm Fury, I don't give him a rematch.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Lion Killer, how do you see it?
Undisputed. That's all that matters to me. Undisputed at every weight class is all that matters to me. I'm tired of that shit. I'm
Agreed.
just being honest with you. You know, me and Joe talk about this stuff. You know, it's one of those things where there's so much prestige in one champion. One champion. Title holders mean nothing to me. I mean, you can get a belt for shining shoes these days. That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
So at this point, undisputed at every weight class, especially heavyweight. I don't know what the fuck's going on with this Bridgerweight shit, but that's another story. But definitely heavyweight, a trilogy with Wilder and Fury. I'm really not that interested either, because at the end of the day, there's two other guys holding belts. I want to see that unification. I want to see that completion. Period.
Okay. All right. You want the Thanos, all the stones collect. All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
I got a quick question for Nick though. For Nick Campbell. Would
Come
you
on, really quick.
which one would you watch? Which one would you watch? Would you watch a Wilder fight or a female fight? Which one would you have if you had to pick one or the other?
that's a
Which
good
one would be?
That's not a side. That's not a side to watch no TV.
He's gonna take a nap. You know
Is that when you pull?
Yeah.
Is that when you pull the book out? You put a nice book out. Nate?
I'm reading some.
Blacktail.
Read a nice book.
Here's
right.
the problem. It's not that I don't like women's fights. I don't like the
Right.
fights they match.
No, you're right. You're
Right.
right. You need the matchups. You need the matchups.
Yo, I gotta check my.
And my
women's
problem is
scriptures right
that's
now. I don't know,
that's
man.
not just women's fights. That's not just women's fights. That's fights in
Right.
general.
You need the
All
matchups.
me and my boy Lion Killer do is complain about the matchups, and we bitch.
You and everybody
complain.
else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Okay.
We bitch more to complain about the matchups. Hold on. We bitch more to complain about the matchups because you're expecting me to pay $79 for a matchup that we think is worth what Mike Tyson and Roy Jones was worth. $49. So and that's basically what my issue is. It's not about me not liking women boxing, because I totally support women's boxing, especially if they fight in the very best competition.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. That's not what he said about 5 minutes ago, but you know, we'll take that. That's a better answer. You know what I mean? But
Hey, why are you trying to rile him up again, man?
First of all,
Yeah, because he's gonna go. He's gonna go.
First of all, you are full of more shit than a Christmas goose to say that I didn't say that 5 minutes ago.
okay, I did
just-
10 minutes ago. All right.
I just told you how I felt about women wanting the same money when they got the same garbage matchups.
We going live on your
I hear you.
tonight.
I hear you. But back to topic here, Chief Funky. What would you prefer here?
Well, everybody that's a listener to HCP and Leaving the Ring Roundtable knows I'm all about undisputed. So that's what's most important to me in every division, especially at heavyweight. I mean, there's no better title in boxing than to be the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. And that's what I want to see. And you know, the Wilder Fury thing, that honestly, that could wait if that's next for me. You know, I understand what these guys are saying about not wanting to see Wilder again. He's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with a lot of the things that he's came out and said with no proof at all. So, you know, I understand people's issues with what he said. So, yep, I'm all about undisputed, man.
B, same question.
Real quick.
Hold on, Milker. Let's keep it moving. Beeb,
All right.
what do you think?
Well, you know, you hear a lot of times where fighters talk themselves into a fight. Wilder talked himself out of this fight because of all of the stuff that he was saying. And because of that only adds to the fact that more people don't want to see this third fight because of all the stuff that he said. Now, we've been talking about undisputed since when? 2018. Now we can finally have it. Both sides, both the Fury camp and the Joshua camp are talking. This looks very doable. So obviously I'm going to go with the undisputed because it's the more doable fight. And it's the more intriguing fight.
All right. Look, here's what I'll say. My short answer is undisputed, but let me give you a little bit of a longer answer. Okay. Of course, I would prefer undisputed, but I'm not like this whole like nobody wants to see the trilogy and like why would we want to see it? At the end of the day, two things. One, regardless how you personally feel about Wilder, that doesn't matter once the bell rings. That's number one. Okay, he still has a puncher's chance in any fight. We all know it. We know he could hurt Fury. We know he could drop him. We've seen it happen twice. I also feel that with different preparation, and if he's ready for that blitz that came, that I don't think he was ready for in the second fight, he has a shot. I wouldn't favor him, but I believe he has a shot in that third fight. Personally, all right. I think he was blitzed. I don't think he saw it coming, and I think a lot of people are overlooking the fact that first knockdown he was hurt. Okay, and he was not the same after that, and it took Fury 5 rounds, and he didn't even drop him. He was on his feet. It took him 5 rounds for them to finally stop the fight. A dude that was losing his balance, hanging on to the ropes. So I would give him a pretty decent shot, and while I would prefer undisputed, I'm not necessarily either against the trilogy. Even though I don't buy the Glovegate stuff or any of that, I don't think he was slugged on his way to the ring. I don't buy any of that, but I wouldn't mind the fight personally. Nate,
I'd rather see Ruiz than Fury. In terms of undisputed, check out the Lennox Lewis documentary I just found out about this week. It's really good.
Can I say one thing about this puncher's chance thing? Of course, I respect Deontay Wilder. He's a guy that steps in the ring and he puts his life on the line. I respect all fighters. But they fought twice already. So when does the statute of limitations on this puncher's chance run out? That's all I'm trying to say. They fought twice. They fought twice already. He took the shot on numerous occasions. Okay? Here's the thing about Fury. See, Fury has great reflexes. He can see the shots coming. Obviously, you're not going to see every punch coming, but he can see Wilder's shots coming, and he rides the shot. Even that 12th round where he got knocked down, he rode that shot out. Go back and watch that. He saw it at the last minute, and he rode it out. That's why he was able to withstand it. So I just think it's safe to say at this point that Fury's got Wilder. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it that Fury's got Wilder's number.
Well, we won't know it for certain until the third fight, though. That's why trilogies matter. My thing is, I want to see a trilogy for completion's sake, but it's not more important than undisputed.
Yeah, but
that's how I'm seeing it.
If he's always got a puncher's chance, and why not a fourth fight? Why not a fourth?
Okay. Since you mentioned a fourth fight,
how many
limitation of Marquez knocking out Pacquiao, right? He knocked him out the fourth fight, right?
Traditionally, 3 fights. Muhammad Ali fought Frazier 3 times, right?
Yeah, but those were competitive.
Right. Those were competitive fights.
It wasn't a competitive fight.
Didn't Patterson and Johansson fight like 4 times?
This fight was that competitive.
You can argue Marquez won three of those fights.
Right, you can. But let me just point this out there, D-Style, is that he does have a puncher's chance. It's not like we're not saying that he couldn't win that third match, but what I'm saying is the public interest isn't there. So the amount of money they want, I mean, where are they going to get that from? But here's the other thing: what's so wrong for Wilder to go and do something else to actually bring back public interest? Fight somebody of worth, knock that guy out, and it all sparks back up again. Where everybody's like, "Hey, he's back." I think this time he's got even a greater shot of beating.
Didn't feel like that no more.
Or do that shit they did.
That's why I did the Glove video.
But Wilder will eventually get the winner, and there's only one reason why. Because he'll probably still be the only money fight. When all the smoke is cleared, these guys fight twice. He's still going to be the other big money fight out there for whoever wins the 2 fights between the two of them.
And if
That's if Fury don't retire.
Hey, I said the same thing on another platform that he should take it up in between, work on some things, and I said, well, people say you just hate Wilder, you all this other stuff. I'm like,
I'd rather see Wilder Joe Joyce. How about that? Let's see if he, I'd rather see that.
It would be a great fight. It would be a great fight. Wilder versus Dillian White.
That too.
Yeah.
Wilder versus Andy Ruiz.
Why not?
I've been hearing y'all tap dancing. Y'all been tap dancing. Y'all been tap dancing. Go ahead, mister.
I think Wilder fighting former champions from here in America, the Ruiz fight, the Charles Martin fight, give Michael Hunter a chance. I disagree that there's like no interest because that's not true. I mean, look all over YouTube. You can look all over Instagram. Look, I'm rocking my first Wilder and Fury shirt right here. So if the fight comes on, I'm going to watch the fight, but I'd rather see Undisputed. Yeah. And as far as them fighting 3-4 times, look, we had Holyfield, Bo. I think Floyd Patterson fought Johansson about 4 times. And if you look at the first couple of those fights, they were knocking each other down 3-4 times in each fight. You know what I mean? So,
and let's be real, Mr. Boxer. Today, 2-3 years ago, they were talking about an undisputed fight with Anthony Joshua. Whether that was real or not, offers were made. They're saying that the offers weren't real. They didn't take the fight. They didn't make the fight. Sometimes you take the low ball to get all the balls. And so, that's kind of how I was looking at it then. But a lot of people, everybody's a businessman in this sport from the outside. If he had taken the fight against Anthony Joshua, he would have been undisputed champion, in my opinion. I think Anthony Joshua was ready for him. And he was being coached by Breland.
Disagree, bro. He can't get out the way of a right hand, but that's my opinion on it.
Well, I mean, you my boy. I ain't worried about it.
Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, I'm just saying the opportunity was there.
Right.
I've consistently heard y'all people are talking about. I want to see another Deontay Wilder fight with Tyson Fury. I'm talking about real boxing fans. I ain't talking about guys I'm talking real old school boxing fans, the ones that like me. I'm talking real diehards. We don't give a rat's ass about Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury again. You know why?
But Nate. See, we die hard, but there'll be a whole bunch of fans that's not die hard that's going to buy the pay-per-view.
Right, but that's not true. They're not going to buy the pay-per-view. I'm going to tell you why. Here's the issue. Here's what you got to remember. You're telling me that Deontay Wilder would have gotten better leaving the best trainer that he had that he didn't listen to someone else that's not as good a trainer, who can't teach him as much that he don't listen to. Man. See, y'all don't get this. He had a Mark Breland in his corner that he didn't listen to.
Right.
You telling me he had a guy that was really, really, really trying to teach him the game, but he wouldn't listen to him. And he gonna get better with somebody else. He ain't gonna listen to him.
We've been saying that on Leaving the Ring.
So here's my question. Until you show me in another fight that you actually worked on that stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Right, but he ain't doing it. I agree with that part of it. Yeah. I agree with that part of it. I didn't disagree with that. But what I disagreed with was he deserves to fight Tyson Fury right now, today, with what we saw the last fight. And you made the statement he didn't go down. He should have. He should have went down because he done got that. Let me tell you something. That boy beat years off his life out there. Y'all talking that shit. He liable to be half of the man he was when he walked back in the ring.
It's worse staying up on your feet, man, because you're catching more heat, bro.
Oh, he took a beating. I'm not. By the way, I'm not arguing that at all.
He did go down multiple times. In fact, he got knocked down when it wasn't counted as a knockdown.
several times.
Nate, can I ask you a question, Nate?
It was off balance, bro. Like you guys got to acknowledge that he wasn't the same after the first knockdown. You like.
Let me ask.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I don't give a damn what was the problem with it.
Well, what I'm saying, a finisher would have gotten him out of there. He couldn't get him out of there.
We never said Tyson Fury was a finisher. We never called him a puncher. But he punched the shit out of him and finished him.
I'm not disagreeing with that. My point is, do you really think it's going to hurt him in the second round again?
Guess what? He might not hurt him. He might not hurt him at all the next fight. But I guarantee he can't miss him. Deontay Wilder thinks defense is that thing that goes around the yard.
Oh, yeah.
Nate, I got to ask you this question though. The whole thing with Deontay Wilder saying, "Oh, I talked to Mark Breland and I told my whole camp that I'm supposed to go out with my shield, this, that, and the third." Any trainer worth his weight in salt would they ever
from yourself?
They would never agree to that. They would never agree to something like that.
I would never agree to that. I would
especially
have
a former fighter.
You've been around. Do you know any trainer worth his weight in salt? Would they ever agree? Yeah, if I see you in there, within an inch of your life, I'm gonna let you die out there.
How many of y'all watched my fight with Ricky Keelis? Y'all never saw that fight when I fought Ricky Keelis, one of my closest friends? He told the guy in the corner, he said, "Do not stop this fight no matter how bad it gets." I started off landing in the 30%, within 30% of everything I threw. By the time it got to like the 4th or 5th round, I was in the 40s and 50s. Ooh. By the time it got to the end of the fight, I was landing 75% of every power shot and other shot I was throwing. He never fought again. Ricky's my friend. It came to a point I was almost in tears in the ring. Dude, it happens. But Mark Breland, who understands what the longevity of a fighter should be or could be, he broke the chain of foolishness in that corner. JD's didn't give a rat's ass about Deontay Wilder because he kept pushing him out there in the harm's way. Let me tell y'all something. 270 plus pounds a man hitting on you, even if he ain't a big puncher, there's a lot of weight on your head.
Yes.
Accumulation. It's accumulation too.
Absolutely.
I don't care. I don't care how hard you hit. You could freaking drop a freaking a water drop on my head. If you drop a water drop on my head 1,000 times, after 1,000 times, that shit's gonna leave a mark.
I'm gonna give you one. I got a question for y'all. Y'all remember a fighter by the name of Lavender Johnson versus Jesus Chavez?
Yes.
Jesus Chavez was not considered a puncher, but my boy is dead to this day.
Yeah.
Think about what I just said.
Happens, yeah. I would never agree to not throw the towel in for anybody. There's no way I'd be able to live with myself after that, knowing that I could have saved the man's life. I find that foolish that people would even believe. That
Mark Breland looked at him. Mark Breland looked at him like a son. Like a son. He looked at him like a son. Okay.
Well, look at what happened to the boxer out here in New York, where they changed all the rules. He stood on his feet. I'm talking about Magomed.
Magomed was my trainer's fighter.
On his feet the whole time.
Magomed was my trainer's fighter.
There you go.
Magomed was my stablemate.
But the other thing too that I have a problem is when people say that Fury didn't hurt Wilder. Fury fucking hurt Wilder in the first fight in the 12th round.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he hurt him in the 12th round
and beat him and went down, and still I gave him the round.
But I just want to clarify. I'm not disputing any of these things being said. Well, all I was saying is that Wilder was obviously not all there for about 5 rounds. I agree with the stoppage. I kind of felt they waited like a round or two a little too late. Personally, I just don't think that would happen again that early. I just don't. I think
what's ironic about all this?
I think it happened quicker.
What's ironic about all this is Wilder was saying he was getting mad at Breland, saying that he was coming back, and I'm sitting there like, nah, Wilder, it didn't like he was coming back, bro. Look, out of the 19 rounds they fought, and you guys know I'm a Wilder fan. Out of the 19 rounds they fought, I gave Fury about 13 or 14 of the 19 rounds. I really don't think there's nothing else to see. He beat you. Well, the first fight I had it a draw, but I had Fury winning 7 rounds. I mean, he got the best of you fighting off the back foot. Then he stopped you fighting off the front foot. It's really like, what more else do we really want to see with this? But Wilder, he's the epitome of a guy with a puncher's chance, though. So that's the intrigue, I think, from fans that possibly do want to see a third fight.
Historically, Deontay Wilder loses rounds. He loses most of the rounds he fights in.
Yeah.
Period.
See,
He lost every round to Luis Ortiz. Yeah.
Right.
absolutely.
I was at the first Ortiz fight. I was at that fight, and I thought to myself, Ortiz finna beat this Joker.
Same.
And Ortiz got caught.
Twice.
Yeah.
I want to just, if we may, just kind of to keep it at heavyweights, but I want to kind of shift gears here at some quote unquote, we'll call it that, accusations. Lion Killer, you actually sent me this screenshot. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Boxing, today. Let me just read this for you. So there's a video out there, and it's apparently Usyk is saying that Chisora tried to cheat him in the fight. He said there was no padding in Chisora's glove, and in the ring, fight night was smaller than the ring the day before, and the ropes were a lot more loose. He claims he texted Eddie Hearn after the fight and let him know he's not happy. What is your reaction to Usyk saying that, if he said that?
Well, if he could take it to court, man. But all these accusations, that's just what they are, accusations without any type of proof. However, I will say this, though, a lot of tricky things going on in the UK. We've seen when Dillian White fought Oscar Rivas, and with that whole situation with him switching up the gloves at the last minute, they were not checked and approved by the other team. A lot of tricky stuff can happen in the sport. Like I was saying off the air here, I was speaking to a trainer. He was telling me about some of the tricks that the Klitschko's used to use as far as the soft canvas. Mm-hmm. You'll get to the arena on fight night, and next thing you know, it's like you're fucking fighting in quicksand.
Well, that's called a puncher's ring.
Okay.
I learned to box in a ring like that.
All right. So I heard a trainer tell me, like, hey, man, them dudes out there sapping people's legs by doing that type of trickery, because when you go check the ring the day before, it's different than on fight night, you're fighting in quicksand. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past.
Y'all know what that is? Y'all know what that is?
Go ahead.
What they do is, Mr. Boxing, you dead right about that. What they do is, we had what's called a puncher's ring. It's a thicker pad, a thicker, softer underpad that goes under the canvas, and
takes more energy.
And it takes energy. So for us, it would never faze me, because I learned to box in that type ring. So for me, I learned to box up on top of it like it was nothing. And I learned that's why you see me, if y'all watch me box, I step opposed to bounce in the ring. Y'all ever notice that?
Right.
Slide
I step because I can bounce in a fast ring and nothing happens, but in a spongy ring, you better step and fire shots. And so that's happening a lot. I'm gonna ask y'all a question, because I'm gonna show you Mr. Boxing. You saw how small that ring was in the Roy Jones Mike Tyson fight?
Yep.
Tiny.
Yeah. I'm just saying. That's what I was saying.
That's a cockfighting ring right there.
Go ahead and finish your thoughts there, Mr. Boxing.
And see, I kind of want to go to Nate though. So Nate, have you ever been in a situation where let's say the fight's on Saturday night and it's like a Thursday, and you go check the ring out? When you showed up on Saturday, was the ropes looser than normal than they were the time you checked them? Have things like this happened to you in your career?
I'm finna fuck with y'all. I ain't give a shit. I ain't give a damn. Yeah, I was the B-side anyway. I was the B-side anyway. Dude, if y'all see me fight, I like to fight off loose ropes. I get all kind of I hit your mama off a loose rope, because I was the B-side. So I didn't particularly care. I didn't care about anything that went on outside of throwing punches, because at the end of the day, I was the B-side.
So I guess it's just the mindset thing, because I guess Usyk is looked at as the A side in this situation. So I guess if you're the A side,
ain't nobody. Let me tell y'all something. Let me explain something, y'all. When that bell ring, is every man for himself, God for us all.
Okay. Well, I mean the house fighter, Renee. I'm talking about the house fighter.
Fuck the house fighter. I come in. I'm the house fighter when the bell rings.
I hear you.
That's a good mindset to have. I mean, I wish every fighter had a mindset like that. But these fighters don't have that type of mindset.
Hey, Mr. Boxing, when the bell rings, you better be willing to do. There's a few things you better be willing to do. You better be willing to fight, kill, or die, or fuck, fight, or see tail lights. Make your mind up. It's gonna be one of them happening.
You're already in the ring, right? Might as well do whatever you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
Well, let me take it to you, Nate. What are your thoughts on Usyk? I mean, making his accusation. You think it's crying? Is crying foul? What do you think?
No, he won. He won the fight. But if he'd have lost, it'd have been crying. But okay. I take. You can take more stock in what he's saying because he won. See, It's a lot of shit that goes on that y'all don't understand in boxing. I watch guys. I think I told this story. I'm gonna give y'all one. There's a guy. I don't know if he living or dead. Named Porter Roll. You call Porter Roll, he gets your opponent on the first. He gets your opponent the day of the fight. And Porter Roll, if you look at my fight, my 11th fight, a guy was 0-9. Everybody pulled out on me. We called Porter Roll. He got a dude named Keith Major to fight me. Porter Roll was that guy that gets to somebody. And the state was trying to keep the main event in. So I was mad. I was whining. I was crying. And that man said, "You don't get paid if you don't fight." I said, "Okay, bring him on here. But go and bring him. I got child support, dude. Bring him on here." So I stopped him in 2 rounds. But Porter Roll did something on more than one occasion. But he did something. He did a couple things that I think were the greatest things ever done in the history of boxing. He had a boy. And the boy in the fight, a boy named, I think his name was Gene Mullen. And the boy, I never forget sitting ringside, and the boy looked at Porter Roll and say, "What I'm supposed to do?" Porter Roll told him, "Just put your hands up and walk to the middle of the ring. He'll figure it out."
Damn.
That's the kind of stuff that goes on in this game called boxing. Mr. Boxing, you laughing, but I'm telling you the truth. I ain't that good. I can't make this up.
Yeah.
So when you see Usyk making these kind of statements and you've seen that kind of stuff happen, you know what I'm saying? Or you seen where Porter Roll had a guy that was too light and he put a 5-pound weight in his pocket and made him wear it with all his clothes on. And you see them, when you see these kinds of things, you know that what Usyk's saying is not too far the realm of truth.
Right.
And that's bad.
Okay, I could see that. Dave Duenes, give us your thoughts, man.
You know, listening to Nate Campbell, I mean, he's right. It's not far-fetched. I remember when I would go to Southern California and go to all these gyms and then talk to a lot of the small promoters that worked over in Tijuana. And I remember one of these small promoters was just talking about, you know, how he had a Rolodex. And he actually owned a Cossack. And what he would do is pick up fighters that weren't very good, and he would offer them free housing, free food, and they could bring their family and they could live in this Cossack, right? And then when their time came, he would call them, and their job was to lose to their house fighter or whatever fighter they were going to be up against, you know. And then that same promoter would make these guys fight maybe 2 or 3 times. And I was like, how could you pull that off? And he said, well, we would just go, make them switch IDs and then make them take off their shorts, put on other shorts. Like they would go in as Gomez, they would come back in the wing, they would switch it into a Gonzalez. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know the whole story with Usyk. I'm not gonna say like, oh man, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see more stuff come out before we jump on that wagon. But it's not something that can't happen in boxing. It's fucking boxing, for crying out loud.
All right, Lying Killer, give us some thoughts, man.
If you can't prove it before, during, or after, right after the fight, fuck it. That's how I feel. Because we've been through this shit all year. Think about it. We've had these glove gate conspiracies. We've had whatever else has come through. I'm tired of hearing that bullshit. Prove it before, during, or right after the fight. Get the evidence to the commission. Get the evidence to the sanctioning bodies, whatever it is. I don't want to hear that shit. You want to fight? Move the fuck on.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Milcar, what are your thoughts?
I mean, my first thought was, what Mr. Boxing today said about the Rivas fight, and there wasn't any kind of an investigation or anything that took place after that, as far as I know. But I actually agree with what my man just said. Like, if there was an issue with the gloves and he felt something funny happening in the fight, he should have asked for them to immediately check the gloves right after the fight. Like, they could cut off the tape, examine the gloves, put them away, look at them. That should have happened. As far as the ring is concerned, that definitely is something that could have taken place. Famously, Tyson Fury almost refused to fight versus Klitschko because they switched the padding and the canvas of the ring the day of the fight when he was supposed to take on Vladimir in Germany, and they had relented at the end, and then they switched it back to what it was before. But It's like Nate was saying, if you're a fighter that bounces around and is used to moving around in the ring, that is a big detriment. And obviously that was Usyk's plan. Move around, right? Use his legs, outbox Chisora. Whereas Chisora would have benefited from that kind of, ring and padding under the ring. The only thing that I don't really understand, though, is that actually I do kind of understand it now that I think about it. I was just about to say that Usyk was the A side, but then if you think about it, maybe Hearn didn't want him to win, because if he wins, then he can kind of put a wrench in the Joshua Fury fight happening, because now obviously he's the mandatory for Joshua. So it's kind of an incentive there for them to play some funny business and for Chisora to win. So I don't know. It's difficult. Obviously, we don't have all the facts right here on the other side of the world speculating, but I could definitely see it happening for sure.
Emil Carr, this is how I see it.
Yeah.
Nassim Richardson, probably the most recent catch when it came to cheating in boxing.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good, knowledgeable trainer who knows it, even check those gloves before you get in the ring, while you're in the ring. Hey, if you see something funny, there was a recent incident where someone caught something. I can't remember the fight, but they caught something before the fight started.
Yeah, we talked about it. It was out here. I'm sorry, on the West Coast.
You have to have the right eyes with the right education in this sport in order to catch these things. And if you don't, you're going to have these egregious incidents where people are blaming every damn thing, and you can't believe them because the fight occurred. You went and fought. And that's what having professional trainers, professional cornermen, professional cut guys, not your brother's cousin's uncle. Your
uncle no.
uncle in them. And that's really what it boils down to. So any claim after the fact, if it's not immediate or an immediate protest, it's horseshit in my eyes, because you can't prove it. You can't go 8, 9, 10, 12 months down the line talking about you got cheated. You can't.
Don't nobody want to hear.
I hear you.
And that's just the truth.
So, well said. What about you, Chief Funky? What's your immediate reaction to this, really quick?
It's the same as Glovegate. You should have said something right then and there. When the fight happened. From my understanding, the people that I know that work for the commission, they're saying, look, if there's an issue with something like that, it's got to be said to us right there. You got to tell us right there. Before the fight, during the fight, whatever it may be. That's just, like I said, from my understanding, from what they've told me. And I'm saying the same thing here. Usyk, you should have said something. If you think there was foul play going on, you should have said something there right at the time. And then, it would have been solved, or whatever happened. Who knows what would have happened, but he should have said something then. And same thing with Wilder.
And
that's how they collect evidence,
What was that, Dave?
I'm just saying that's how you're able to collect evidence,
Right,
for them
definitely.
to examine it,
Right.
so they can either move forward of what they're going to do next if there is cheating involved, or they're going to end up saying there's nothing here we could find, and they're going to throw it out of the case, throw the case out. I mean, that's why it needs to be done immediately.
Joe Habib, what are your thoughts on it? None of us know everything up, but what's your immediate reaction to it?
Well, the whole ring thing.
Breaking news.
The whole ring thing. I don't know. I can't really speak on that. But the glove situation, again, there's nothing in the sport of boxing that is expected more than both fighters' gloves. So this fight was in October, and now we're talking about padding being taken out of gloves in December. Again, I just don't see how it would be possible. Can I say I know with 100% certainty that no foul play occurred at all? No. But if you would have asked me and I was a bet man, I would say no. The padding was not taken out of the gloves, because again, those gloves are looked at by inspectors. They're looked at by commissioners. They're looked at by the opposing team's trainers and who's ever designated to go into that locker room. And then after the fight, the gloves are taken and they're brought into a room and they're inspected again. So for me to believe that someone actually took the padding out of those gloves and they were able to get away with it in 2020, I just can't I can't fathom that, to be honest.
Joe, you know what happened? Usyk fought at heavyweight. That's what fucking happened.
I was
Fought
about
at
to say,
heavyweight.
like, maybe he never felt much like that, you know?
He caught soup bones. That's really what it. You saw him in the fight. Oh shit, he's not moving like he usually does.
Nope.
He's getting stuck.
A big guy. Trezora's a big guy.
Yeah, he's
Very
a solid
big,
dude.
And nothing looks suspicious to me. And obviously, I'm watching on television, but I didn't see gloves that had like indented, marks in them from Chisora. The gloves looked legit. I mean, they looked like legitimate 10-ounce.
They look like they had been mashed up on his ass. That's what it looked like.
The fact is that they're 10-ounce gloves, but this is a big dude. I mean, I just think that's what it was. Like, I never felt anything like that. Well,
I mean, did the gloves look like the padding was taken out to you guys when you were watching?
No, not at all.
It looked like the padding was being put on his ass.
he didn't say anything after the fight. Like, he was like thank you
Yes,
to
he did.
everybody.
He said ouch after the fight. That's what he said.
I want to ask Nate a question as a fighter. Like, I mean, I know people are saying, well, he should have said something about the ropes. But what do you say? Like, if you're already in the ring, right, and you see that the ropes are loose, like, well, there's nothing you can do, right? If you're about to fight.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Tell them
Okay.
tighten. You can make dude. They got a group of guys around that tighten. You can tighten the ropes up by twisting the turnbuckle.
All right.
And here's my issue. About this. If you're telling me that, like Ringside Reporter said, live said, in 2020, did somebody watch the gloves? Put it this way: what's the worst glove scandal ever in the history of boxing?
Louis Resto. Louis Resto.
And the other man's corner walked over and grabbed the guy's glove, and made them check that glove right there.
Yes.
So you telling me your fighter telling you, because when I walked to the corner, when I fought Ali Fanica, he hit me in my mouthpiece came. He hit me in my mouthpiece, popped out my mouth. I heard that in my ear because he popped the bead in my mouthpiece in the back. I told John, whoa, this motherfucker here can punch. I said, I think he broke my jaw.
Yeah,
John,
I went to congratulate Resto, and he felt the
right.
Yeah.
Right. So here's what you got to remember. You telling me that you ain't if you thought that somebody was hitting you with paddless gloves, that you ain't gonna find out a way to make a scene right there on the spot? I don't believe that. I can't believe Usyk fuck around now and he kept calling Derek, and Derek came to see him. As my grandma said, Derek, come by there.
You know what? It's like, hey, I looked unstoppable at cruiserweight. What's going on? Well, you're fighting a bigger dude. That's what's going on.
That has to be the most egregious violation ever in the sport of boxing to do something like that.
Oh yeah.
And so if that's going to occur, no one's going to let that slide. It's not like friggin' someone put too much Vaseline on my eye or something like that. Or it's a difference between a speeding ticket and DWI. There's levels to this shit, right? No one's gonna let something like that slide.
I saw a punch Chisora threw. I think it was a left that caught Usyk in the face. Usyk's face just changed.
He moved. Remember that? He literally moved
like,
back.
what the fuck?
What is this?
On a numerous amount of occasions,
it was different from there.
On a numerous amount of occasions, Usyk had an incredulous look on his face, like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah. You know why?
He's hurt.
He was in with a real heavyweight for a change.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's levels to this shit, and it got stinking real quick round now.
It got funky.
They got funky as a wet dog. I'm telling you. It got
Usyk needs to take his ass to the bridge. He needs to take his ass to Bridgerweight. He just does.
Those first two rounds of that fight with Usyk, really, when I was watching it, and I remember tweeting this out, I was like, you could really see that Usyk was like, fuck, did I just do the right thing? Like, am I doing the right thing? Because he wasn't even like moving. You know, like he was allowing Chisora just to do what he wants. And even like Chisora was like, this is actually a little easier than what I thought when he was landing these big punches.
Early on,
you know? Yeah.
Early on.
switched stances, and then he threw like a
Then the
right
gas
jab,
tank went to E.
hitting him every
right?
time.
Punch is hurting now. Oh, man.
Hey, y'all really want to know what happened? Y'all really want to know what happened?
Sure.
Tell us,
Enlighten
Nate.
us,
Tell
Nate.
us.
That
Enlighten
boy,
us, Nate. Come on, buddy.
that boy made his ass holler. You hear me? That boy made his ass holler. And I ain't
Let me
talking
spit out
about
my
his
drink.
Well, there you go.
mouth. Hey, he hit that boy when he hit his ass. Say, ow! He made his ass. Hey, inside reporter. When he hit him the first time, there was a little man hiding out in his ass cavity screaming at the top of his lungs like this.
Let me out! Let me out! Let me out!
Wow. You ain't lying.
Hey, Usyk was even getting touched against Chaz Witherspoon, if we want to be honest about it.
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
true.
Yeah, he
I
was.
think heavyweight is
Doing
just
like
different
that.
for him. Like, yeah, at
But I
cruiser,
will-
Get in touch at cruiserweight against Maris Bradis.
But I
yeah,
will say-
Breedis and Hunter was touching him too.
Absolutely.
So,
but
I
will
just
give
think now with the added weight, even though they, rehydrated Cruiser, but I think now him being at this solid weight and training at this weight
Shit's hurt.
made him a little bit slower. And he's getting a little bit older too, man. He's not a damn robot, so he gonna have to stand and trade. He want to be Holyfield? Okay, well, Holyfield used to stand and trade with these big motherfuckers too. So if you can't do that, Usyk may be toast when you get up there with people that can put that pressure on him, like Chisora, and it'd be even more accurate with their punches.
God, I hate that comparison to Usyk and Holyfield.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
not
man, Holyfield is just a different beast,
Of course.
There's not going to be another Holyfield, man. There's just not going to be another Holyfield.
They don't build fighters like that no more.
No,
'cause they
yeah.
can't.
That's my
People don't
favorite
realize-
heavyweight growing up. Holyfield was
people
my
don't-
favorite.
People don't realize how fluid and smooth Holyfield was on the inside. He was a dog on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give y'all
Dog
one.
on the inside.
He punched with anybody.
Do y'all know that Evander Holyfield was such a natural at this shit? He started boxing on a Monday, and they put him in his first fight the very same Saturday coming up. This real talk, bro.
All you gotta do is go back to that Dwight Muhammad Khan fight to know what Holyfield's made out of.
A 12 fight
Good
pro
fight there.
did that to Dwight. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That motherfucker had 12 full fights.
Remember this.
Oh,
His heavyweight.
Just one at a time, but go ahead, Beep.
No, I was gonna say it was a 15-round fight in his 12th pro fight, and this dude's grinding out a decision.
Let's do this. Dave, give us some final thoughts on this.
I was just going to add to this. I go, let's just remember this. When Holyfield was making his heavyweight pro debut, the commentators and sports writers at the time were saying, "Can Holyfield move?" And everybody was thrown off when he went in the pocket, but he was actually giving angles in the pocket to the bigger guys. And
Body
that's what made him
positioning.
so hard,
He knew how to. He knew all about body positioning on the inside.
Exactly. Right?
He knew how to do that. He knew how to put his head off to the side. He knew how to wrap around the shots. You know how
Now,
to sneak the ones up.
Usyk, here's the thing, Joe. If Usyk's footwork was so great, like so many people want to point out to us, then if you want to make comparisons of him being like Holyfield, then that's what he should have been doing to Chisora. He didn't do any of that.
Usyk needs space.
It's a
Usyk
different
needs
style.
space.
Yeah.
He needs space. He doesn't like fighting up close. He doesn't like body contact. He needs space.
He doesn't like it rough.
The European style is like G League basketball.
They're not in a lot of European fighters are not, and I don't want to stereotype, but they're not great inside fighters.
No, they're
Right,
not. They're more traditionally 1-2 punchers.
They're more. They like to fight at a distance.
It's easy to time.
Why do you think Ward grinded up all those guys in the Super Six?
Right.
How did he beat them?
With more versatility.
Fighting on the inside.
And be
Beat them all up on the
versatile.
I
inside.
say that's true with like 168, 175 plus, but I do give the smaller guys from Europe a lot more credit than that.
All right.
You know who can fight pretty
All
good
right.
on the
Okay,
inside?
give us some
though?
final thoughts, Beep. I got another topic, but go ahead. Give us some final thoughts really quick. Finish your point, Beep. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's one European fighter that I know can fight pretty good on the inside. That's Tyson Fury.
Oh,
You know what?
You have to throw in a little kick. Comment about fear.
Tyson Fury's my
Wrong.
man. I love Tyson Fury. But go
Hey,
ahead, Nate.
Go ahead, Nate.
You as wrong. You as wrong as two left shoes. It ain't he can fight inside. The guys he fighting can't fight inside because they've been trained and not taught.
There
There's a
you
big
go.
difference.
I agree with that. And we're going to end it with that.
Well,
I'm an inside fighter.
somebody-
I'm an inside fighter. I'm an inside fighter. You can run you can talk to your ass, catch fire. I'm an inside fighter.
Tyson Fury can scrap on the inside. I'm telling you.
He showed Juan Diaz in Mexico.
The guys
Man,
he's
that's
fighting
for sure.
can't fight inside.
Let's go with this, guys.
That's their problem, not his.
Oh boy! All right, guys.
Problem, not his.
That's
We
true.
got about
is true,
20
Joe.
minutes here.
That's like me playing someone one-on-one at basketball.
Time out, Beep.
The dude can't shoot, but I'm hitting my shot. That ain't my problem. He can't shoot. I ain't gonna stop hitting my shot.
Right. With that said, let me give a shout out to the chat really quick, man. I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you go chat with the like button. Yo, beep, come down.
Sorry,
make sure you guys hit the like button, please. All right, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Great Drank, yes, that is Nick Campbell in the chat. Philly, Iris, Drew Evil, what's going on? Black Caesar on here. How are you doing? A-Rod, Wildcard Show Podcast, JC, Stephen. I mean, there's a lot of you guys out there. I apologize how to get to all of you, but shout out to you. We got one more topic. This is a hot one. A lot of people talking about this. So I'm going to go around the panel. Once we go around, then we can mix it up a little bit. But let's go one at a time, okay? And I want to start with Nate here. Nate, who's ducking who, if anyone? Spence or Crawford? Or is there no ducking going on, in your opinion?
We can't say there's a duck until a legitimate fight offer has been made. I'm going to say this. In my opinion, Spence is the draw. I know a lot of folks like Bud. Spence is the draw. He got the more titles. He got the deeper pedigree at the weight. He can sell tickets. Everybody keep talking about Terrence Crawford put 15,000 in over there in Nebraska. I said, shit, that was everybody in the city. They ain't had shit to do that night. Let's really be honest. I love Terrence Crawford, but let's really be honest. Terrence Crawford can do that now because what else is there? But let's talk. You got choices in Dallas. And that motherfucker still put how many in the seats over there? 50 grand?
16,000, 16 or 17,000.
I ain't talking about this last fight. I'm talking when he fought over there and it was before COVID.
Garcia, 50,000.
With Mikey Garcia, yeah.
Yeah, I was at that fight.
It was so many with the guy. I said, boy, look here, this look like Europe. The fight looked like a Europe fight. So listen, you got to get the most money to Errol Spence. And if Terrence want the fight, go get it and then get the rematch.
Can't get done at 50-50, Nate.
Hold on, Beep. Hold on. Chill.
He said 50-50. 50-50. First of all, 50-50 for somebody that draw as much as you.
I'm just asking. I'm just telling.
Joe,
guys, I promise you we'll do a free for all in a moment. Let's just get it around really quick. All right. A Lion Killer, who's ducking who, if anyone?
There is no ducks. It's only networks and promotions guiding the narrative like the WWE. It's a script. So from what I've been told, the game plan is for Crawford to fight Porter, then Pacquiao and Spence to fight, and then the winners of those fights fight each other. That's what I've been told. So boxing, I've been saying this for a while. It's become the WWF, the WWE. It's scripted. People got plans. If the plans go awry, they insert someone else in. It's really messed up. But there's no ducking going on because the fighters don't have any control of the situation at all. They're at the behest of the networks, not even the promoters. The promoters have become irrelevant in a lot of ways. They're kind of just in the way. Okay. Yes, man. Spokespeople at the end of the day. So no ducking on that.
All right, Joe Habib. Is there any ducking going on here?
Well, you've known me for almost 12 years now, and there's two words that I never use.
11 and a half.
There's two words I never use. I never call a fighter a quitter, and I never use the duck word. It's business. It's business, but both sides are going to want a bigger piece of the pie, and that's going to be a problem to get the fight done. I think that Spence has more options, obviously, because of where he's at. And I think that Crawford eventually may go over to the PBC, but that's still not a guarantee that would make the fight happen even quicker, because we saw what happened with Thurman and Spence and how that never came to fruition. So at the end of the day, like I agree with Lion Killer. I think that that Spence will probably end up fighting Pacquiao, and Crawford will end up fighting Porter. And those are two pretty decent fights. I have no problem with either one of them. But you know, I think Spence has shown that he could do better numbers on pay-per-view. He can do better numbers at the live gate. And but the problem is Crawford's got an ego, and I don't think that he's going to want to take 40%, even though it may be warranted in a lot of people's opinions. But we all see how it happens when it gets to a fight like this, and then one side says 60 and the other it says 60-40. You know, we saw it happen several times, and all it does is prolong the negotiations. And we're just going to have to see. They may have to work out a deal where maybe the winner gets 60 and the loser gets 40 or 55, 45, whatever. I don't know. But this is a fight that I think is going to be a very, very hard fight to make. And we could actually find ourselves in another Pacquiao Mayweather situation, which is very, very unfortunate for the boxing fans.
Fair enough. Mr. Boxing Today. It may not be the heavyweight division, but there are heavyweight names, right?
Yeah, man. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I cover so much heavyweight stuff. I don't cover the day-to-day. He said this. He said that. Well, he said this. He said, I don't cover that shit, man. So I'm not sure who left off saying what between his two.
He left the kitchen light on.
Right. But what I will say is this. I would rather see Spence take on Crawford for 3-belt unification, and then the winner take on Pacquiao for the legacy, the money fight, and to get the OG up out of here, because I think he would probably lose to both of those guys. That's what I would like to see. Not to forget Porter, you know what I mean? But I don't follow it enough, man, to say who said what, he said this. I think the bigger draw right now is Errol Spence, based on what I see, the turnout he has in Dallas Cowboy Stadium, and he has 2 of the belts at the division, you know what I mean? But I don't follow it enough, man, as far as I'm not sure who said what last, to be honest with you.
All right, Milcar, give me your thoughts, man. Is anyone ducking anybody here? If so, who?
I don't think so. Joe said 60-40. Remind me of when I was a lot younger watching a post fight, and Roy Jones was telling
Roy Jones and
Hopkins.
I get your ass kicked.
60-40, I'll beat that ass. 60-40, I'll beat that ass.
Now it took forever for that fight to happen, the rematch. Forever. And I don't think it was because one guy was ducking the other guy or one guy was afraid of the other guy. It was just business, and both fighters wanted to get what they thought they were worth. But, you know, having said that, I do agree with what I heard earlier and the fact is, at this stage in their careers, Crawford does not have the resume at 147 that Errol Spence does, and he does not draw the crowds that Errol Spence draws. And I don't know how the pay-per-view did. You know, I ordered it, but, you know, Errol Spence also drives pay-per-views in a way that Crawford does not. So
I'm going to let you continue, but I believe the reporting numbers, I've seen everything from 100,000 to 300,000. So
for what?
For the pay-per-view.
Regardless of what it was, it's still more than
you're talking about Saturdays.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had the exact numbers yesterday. It's 180 to 200. PBC reported 250, but it's really 180 to 200K.
I believe him too.
All right, that's not very strong.
I believe him.
He's still a bigger draw, and I hope it happens. But you know, we've said it here just now. He's gonna have to take the shorter money, and by him I mean Terrence Crawford. He's just going to have to, if for this fight to get made. You know, and like it was said earlier, he's gonna have to try to get the rematch and make his money there.
All righty. Okay. Chief Funky, talk to us, man. Is anybody ducking anybody? Well, what is this? That there's no like, hey, you ducking that guy, nothing. What's going on?
No, I don't believe there's any ducking going on here. You know, it's just when we hear these sort of things, I mean, it's just narratives that get put out there in the YouTube universe, and it's just a bunch of garbage, man. These guys aren't afraid to fight each other. You know, I just don't think that. I do agree with everybody said here. You know, Spence obviously is he draws more. So Crawford's just going to have to take the shorter end, man. And I don't think it's a bad thing, man. I mean, I've said this long before this whole thing was even A side, B side. When the rumblings of them two fighting first started, I said, I think Crawford beats him. I still think Crawford beats him to this day. So he should just take the damn 40%, get in there, beat him. And then he becomes the A side in the rematch. Simple as that. But I don't think either guy is ducking each other. I don't see that at all. It's just narratives, man. That's it.
Fair enough. Look. Here's what I want to say really quick. Like it is possible that the initial numbers are around the first ballpark, and they will eventually reach 250. But traditionally, that's not the way they should do it. They should actually wait for the numbers to come in. Like for example, De La Hoya Mayweather was first like 1.9, then 2.1. The months later, 2.9. Other pay like Haddon Mayweather was like 850, then eventually was like close to 1 million. But yeah, there's no doubt that they're counting what they're projecting months down the line, which it's kind of strange, but it's whatever to me.
What's crazy? Yesterday, I got several people call me a hack and a hater. I'm like, fool, I'm from Dallas. What are you talking about? I love Errol Spence. Huh?
There's no hating in Dallas.
People are like, you hating on Spence. How am I hating on Spence? I'm just passing you the news that I got from the inside. So you don't have a source, but I got more sources than a motherfucker. So at the end of the day, I'm not a news reporter. I don't care about half the stuff I hear, because to me, my whole thing is about the sport of boxing. The fact is, the source was solid. Mike Coppinger went out today and reported the same number I told people that they were going to report.
Exactly.
And so,
okay, he told me yesterday.
I seen the video.
Right.
He texted me yesterday. That's facts.
Yeah. So it's 100. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, well, I was going to say, look, these are not the best numbers, but I think it's a couple of things. It's not just COVID.
You got to consider the fact
that you made a certain company, all right, has made people, buy pay-per-view after pay-per-view, and then you just had Tyson Jones last week. I mean, we got Christmas presents to buy. We
got COVID-19. People getting evicted at the end of the month.
On my channel, I don't tell people what I did, but there was a song when I was a kid, roll your boat gently down the stream. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's it. Dave, talk to us, Dave. Is anybody ducking anybody here?
No, I don't think so at all. I think what it is really, I don't think it's between the fighters. I think it's between two promoters. They're trying to make their ends meet in this fight too.
They gotta pay them.
They gotta pay them. You know what I mean? And the thing what gets me is like some folks are putting it on Al Heyman, and because he's going in-house source, it's like he's getting all his in-house fighters to fight his main money guy right now. But Bob does the same thing, And me and Amilcar have been saying this for the longest time on Leaving the Ring, is that Bob's gonna he's gonna exhaust everything he could before he starts getting into talks about Crawford going in with Spence, But I've been told that it is going to happen next year. They're looking at a date for it next year to happen and stuff. But whether it's with Bob or without him, I don't know. But I think that Spence and Crawford fight, I think, because Crawford, you could see it. He wants to fight. They want to fight. They want to show who's the best in that division, But I agree with everybody about Spence being the more of the draw. I think he is more of the draw. He has a better resume than Crawford, and I think just Crawford is starting to slowly see that he's spiraling down with the fans. I mean, now he's like even talking about going to 135, meaning that if he doesn't get that Spence fight, he wants to go to 135.
I heard there was a joke with Stevenson, though. I heard there was a joke. Yeah. Well, he wasn't serious about that.
Yeah, probably. You never know, man. But you know what I mean? You just got to imagine, here's a guy that's a fighter and has an attitude of a fighter and is asking for this one fight and putting all his trust in this promoter. And then this promoter says, I could have bought 2 houses in Beverly Hills, without promoting this guy. You know what I mean? So that's a major sting on his part, So to say that he's ducking Spence or Spence ducking him, I just find that very hard. I mean, they're fighters,
Bob's half a jog from death. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
By the way, happy birthday to Bob, by the way.
One hot ham sandwich, you kill him dead.
Well, if anybody has anything to add, go ahead.
I don't think that they're doing pay-per-view right anymore, man. I mean, the numbers are really starting to show it. I mean, back when I was a kid, teenager in the 90s, when I first started really getting into boxing, it was only the super fights that made pay-per-view. It wasn't fights like Spence Garcia or Davis versus Santa Cruz or the Charlo. Like, those fights had no business on pay-per-view. Now, I bought them all because I'm a
undercard fight,
but those were not pay-per-view fights, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were undercard fights, bro.
I got a question for y'all. Do y'all realize I fought Juan Diaz on the undercard? I was not even the main event.
Oh, who was the main event? I don't remember.
Sam Peter versus Oleg Moskayev.
Damn.
What?
Moskayev from West Sacramento, baby.
I honestly don't even remember that fight.
Wasn't that in Mexico? Was it in Mexico?
Mexico. I'm gonna stick one in you right quick. I fought Kid Diamond on a undercard.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I fought on the Tarver Jones. I fought on the Tarver Jones undercard. It was pay-per-view, but I wasn't a draw. When the paper came out the next day, they had Tarver Jones and a little thumbnail at the bottom. They had me above the fold, hitting Kid Diamond with a monster right hand. And somebody and Roy said, and Roy Jones told me, look at this motherfucker done stole the show again. and y'all gotta understand something. Me and Roy Jones like this. We really like this. Like Lion Killer see how we are. He saw for himself. We are really like that. He'll say anything he wants to me. and I say anything I want to him. And usually I say the worst stuff. But
you know why you were on the undercard? Because guys like Mr. Boxing Today, they want the heavyweights to headline everything. That's why.
Yeah, but they stank up the joint most days. Most of them, man.
It's heavyweight and everything else.
Think about
Mr. Boxing Today, you smoking crack.
Think about what pay-per-view. Think about what pay-per-view used to be.
Because usually the heavyweight is looked at as the baddest man on the planet.
Think about what pay-per-view used to be. You can have a guy come out the sky with a fan and a parachute, drop it to the crowd, watch the Nation of Islam whoop that ass, then restart
right here, killer.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hey, didn't the crowd leave before that fight? After your fight, I think I saw that in the seats.
Dude,
hey, all I know. Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say one of Riddick Bowe's guys had those old brick cell phones. It was
yes, he did.
That is a lot of fight.
I mean, a guy got his ear bit off in a fight. That was pay-per-view in the 90s.
Fucking Motorola brick.
I mean,
I remember where I was when that happened. That's how
we are missing such good entertainment. That's why the Tyson Jones exhibition was a throwback in certain ways. Because
I enjoyed it. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoyed the event.
Yeah, I did.
It was okay. I hated it. I hated every second of it.
Stop hating, goddamn.
No, Nate, stop lying. You know you like it.
Hey, you don't get why I hated it. Y'all.
He hated it because he wasn't there.
No.
Why'd you hate it?
Y'all got to realize something. Less than 10 minutes after when they left the ring and got in the back, I'm calling my big brother. I said, "Bro, you okay?" Always after every Roy Jones fight, no matter what happens, I call him and say, "How are you?" He said, "I'm good." He always answers my phone call because he knows that's my dude. That's my man's in them. And I said, "Now that you fighting Ben Grimm, you know what I'm saying?" I said, "You know that motherfucker don't play well with others." These are the words that I said to him. And I love Mike too, but I was more concerned about, just like Mike said, why y'all worried about him? Well, we worried about him because of you. That's why.
Well, hey, I
was worried about him too
in a second.
So everybody was worried about him.
I ain't gonna lie. I was worried about him.
Hey guys, I gotta go. In a second here. We're at the 2 hours here. It's gonna go around. Everyone, give me some quick final thoughts, Mr. Boxing Today, and tell everybody where they can find you.
Well, you can reach me here on YouTube, Mr. Boxing Today too. Also on Twitter and Instagram, but I'm more frequent here on YouTube. Also on this fight card, this AJ and Pulev, man. Watch out for Bakole versus Kuzman. I think that heavyweight fight is going to steal the show. Then you got Huey Fury taking on an old veteran, Marius Wack. Also this weekend, Cassius Chaney, the undefeated 19-0 American prospect heavyweight, fighting Jason Bergman, the southpaw. Then you got Stephen Shaw in the middle of the week next week, from St. Louis, 13-0. He'll be in action. Vlad Sarenko, the Ukrainian 13-0 prospect heavyweight, is fighting some dude, but I believe on Sunday. All right, that's all I got to say, man. D-Sal, appreciate you having me on. Appreciate all you on the panel. Nate, good chopping up with you, man. I remember watching you back on Fox Sports Net way back in the day, man.
Whoa,
so been a big fan.
You ain't got to tell anybody that. You ain't got to hurt my feelings.
Hey, I was rooting for you, man. I was rooting for your story. They said you used to work like at a grocery store. I was a big fan.
Wendy's house, man. Thank you so much, man.
So
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah, he was
I
a dude
appreciate
peeing
y'all,
in the
man. Leave
pickle.
it in the ring, all you brothers, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Thank y'all so much, man.
Yeah. Nate was a dude peeing in the pickles out back.
Hey, Lion Killer, tell everybody where they could find you. And thank you for coming on, man. And give us some final thoughts here. What's on your mind?
Okay, you can find me and Nate Campbell on the Lion Killer podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Spreaker. You can find us on this new format called Sportscaster, which is out the chain. I recommend that everybody jump on Sportscaster on the panel. It's fire. In case YouTube pulls your shit, you can go there and you're going to get views. My final thoughts are, I'm glad I was able to get on a panel with actual boxing heads. Today, we have such a snowflake type of atmosphere. You got these fanboys. I'm a fanboyist. I don't like fanboys, and fanboys, in my opinion, are killing the sport. Yep. We have to be the custodians of this sport outside of the boxers to carry the sport forward. And so if you're a fanboy, please don't come to my channel. You won't like it. You won't like me and Nate. You just won't, because we're harsh people. And that's just really what it is. I wish all you brothers good tidings, blessings, and success.
Well said, man. And Chief, fuck you, one half of Hispanics causing panic. Talk to us. Final thoughts, bro.
Yeah, this is great stuff, man. Looking forward to the fights this weekend. Hopefully the heavyweights live up to the bill. We get something entertaining. But yeah, this was great. I love being on here with all you guys. Nate, it was good chopping up with you, man. You're just as entertaining talking boxing as you were fighting. Lion Killer, was good to talk with you as well. But let's keep this thing rolling, man. HCP, and shout out to the sponsor, Loyal Roots. Thank you guys so much for being here. Subscribe to me, G-Funk Boxing. You can find me on Twitter, GFunkyBoxing84.
Joe Habib from Ringside Reporter. Tell everybody about your show, this coming Sunday, and give us a
every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can find me here on Ringside Reporter Live, the podcast. You guys know that. Joe Habib on Twitter, Joe Habib on Facebook. I have to say, this is the best panel we've ever had. I mean, I know that I've been talking to Lion Killer for a while. He's been trying to hook up with me and get do some stuff, and with Nate as well. And I don't know if Nate remembers, but Nate was one of our first interviews when we had our Rope-a-Dope Radio podcast back in the day.
Yep, I remember that.
Okay, and it's great. It's great that Nate's still young and vigorous, man. He hasn't changed. He hasn't changed a bit, man. And I think this was good boxing dialogue. And another great thing about this panel is a lot of people can disagree on here, but nobody gets mad. No one argues. No one takes it personal.
Grown men, Joe.
Grown men, just
grown men,
just debating on the sport.
I didn't tell you to behave for a second, but that wasn't personal.
Well, Nate got me fired up. It's been about 12 years, man. So I was kind of excited that Nate was here, man.
I didn't do that.
I am looking forward to this fight this weekend. I'm really curious to see if Joshua comes out and he fights to not lose, or if he actually comes out and fights to really win. So that's what I'm looking forward to this weekend.
A shout out to Mr. Boxing Today, man. Salute to the panel and chat. I appreciate the support, brother. And Joe Lopez 40 Ounce says, great show. I appreciate your support and everybody that supports Stop Boxing Live and Hispanic Cause and Panic. I appreciate that very much. Milcar, tell everybody where they can find you. I know you've been pumping up a YouTube show for a while, like your own channel. I don't know what's going on with that, but and any 100% this week.
No 100%. I've been working on my apartment here, and it's taking up like my whole life apart from my job. But I'm finished with that now. And yeah, I plan to post on the Mil Caribe channel. But until then, you can catch me with David every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, Leaving in the Ring. We're always there, are always talking boxing. I want to thank D-Style, obviously, for putting this all together. This, like, I got to just second what Joe said. This was a great panel. I had a great time. Really enjoyed talking to Mr. Boxing today, to my man Killer there, and obviously to one of the greats, Nate Campbell. I always remember the fights I grew up watching, and I couldn't believe that you were on with us today. So that was amazing. And G Funky, always thank you. And I just subscribed to all your channels, so I'll be sure to follow all your content, Mr. Boxing Today and the Killer Podcast. So thank you, everyone. And yeah, just really appreciate being on here.
I got to find your channel. What is your channel?
I'm on Leave It in the Ring.
Leave It in the Ring? Okay.
You'll find him on Leave It in the Ring, and then he's been talking about 4 months now about his YouTube channel. Well, I'll share it when it's out there. You know what I mean? But hey,
almost 100.
It's
almost 100.
Okay, here's my 100% for this week.
Okay, I gotcha.
100% I'll be going on Sunday.
Okay, I got you. 97 Rough, aka Dave. Give us some final thoughts, bro.
No, it was a great panel. I had a great time and stuff. And just like what Joe was saying, it was like a reunion having Nate Campbell on, because Nate was actually, I think, like he was like the third very first guest that came on Leaving the Ring. And I remember when I called you up, bro, and I said, hey, we're going to have Timothy Bradley on, man. And could I get you on? And you warned me. You said, well, you can have me on, but I talk, I'm going to let myself go. You got to let me go. I was like, yeah. And we were not prepared of what we were going to get when Nate Campbell came on, man. And I remember Timothy Bradley. You know what's funny? Do you remember this? Remember this, Emil Carr? We were talking about Timothy Bradley's commentary, and I said, I think Nate Campbell prepared his ass because he couldn't talk before. When Nate Campbell came on, do you remember that? I was saying that on the show. I was like, because he couldn't talk, like he couldn't even get a word in with Nate Campbell. And then like Nate, you just jumped all over the kid and you like made him feel stupid. I remember him hanging up and he like texted me. He's like, fuck, he just destroyed me on your guys' show, man.
Well, you know what happened? Timothy Bradley headbutted Nate in the fight and absorbed all of his ability to speak. That's what happened.
Well, this was before. This was like right when they're going to go. The match was being set up and all that. But no, it was really fun, man.
But I'm pretty sure Nate could say Ramirez, though, right?
Ramirez.
No, that was great. And then we had you on a few more other times after that, Nate. And
I think y'all got me. I think y'all got me in trouble with the Freddie Roach interview, and I called him a stammering, stuttering idiot.
Oh man,
probably. I don't remember, man.
Sounds about right.
You know what? I know you did get us in trouble. I'll tell you what. One thing you did get us in trouble when you came on, and you started going in about DNA and everything. I don't know if you remember that. And you started talking about, like, hey, you're Mexican, right, David? I'm like, yeah, I'm Mexican. You go, you have African blood. And I remember that started this whole fucking storm of like Latinos attacking everybody in the chat room. And then I was just like, I didn't even know what to say because you just like took over the whole show. So I was like, fuck it, just let them run with it.
You started talking about Morenos and La Bamba and all that.
La Bamba's Afro-Mexican song from Beta Cruz.
I used to love we would ask Nate a question. And then 45, 50 minutes later, then we'd ask our second question. He's like, Nate was like Bernard Hopkins, right? You ask Bernard Hopkins a question, he gives you like a friggin' soliloquy, man. That's what Nate used to do, man. It was hilarious.
I hear you, Dave. Go ahead and finish your thoughts, Dave.
Oh no! Again, man. I think this was just phenomenal, man. Mr. Boxing, I've been watching him for quite some time, And Killer, I got to jump on there and check you guys out.
Oh man, anytime, bro.
As always, G Funk's my man, the homeboy there, and Joe Habib. Got love for them, and again, D-Style, man. I think it's phenomenal that you're putting on the Leaving the Ring roundtable on here, bro. Always fun. Appreciate it.
And I saved the best for last. Nate Campbell, give us some final thoughts, man. The floor is yours.
Listen, man, I thank y'all for having me on. It's an honor that you guys reached out to me and Lion Killer. You can reach us at the Lion Killer podcast. One of us is on it, but Lion Killer is usually on just about every day. Also, I have a show called Experience the Galaxy with Nate Campbell that's on Saturday nights at 7 o'clock usually. That's on LDL TV, LDL Live on YouTube. And if you guys ever want to come on, we can run a show on LDL Live and talk about anything you want. I'm usually set up in studio with 10 cameras. It was built by John Masiunas that worked for Don King for 20-something years. And he told me many years ago, you got to have your own show. I'm like, man, I don't have time for that. He's like, Nate, you really speak well. I'm like, that is the most racist thing you've ever said to me, John. I said, really? He said, I didn't mean it like that. I said, I know. I just had to give you a hard time. But I truly want to say this. Tonight was one of those nights where I really stepped back and say, there are still real boxing guys out there that speak the truth about boxing and have their own opinion. I may not agree with your opinion, but I realized that it was yours, and I don't think that it was in line with the narrative of the norm. It was your opinion. I appreciate that. I thank you guys for just being authentic, and that's important. We gotta stay authentic and organic, man. We gotta stay that way because boxing is dying right now because there are no authentic and organic guys out there. And if we gotta have a coalition of guys like this, that we are the vanguard for boxing truth, the truth of the sport, not about fighters, but about the sport. And until we get that, it's up to us to teach these lames what real boxing is. You understand me? It's up to us to do it. And I'm telling you that because if you don't take on that responsibility and tell a fanboy to sit his ass down, you're going to disappear before it's over. So it's important that we stand up and keep doing what we're doing, keep reaching out, and, man, keep telling the uncomfortable truths. I know that tonight some of y'all cringed when I was talking to Christine. I didn't particularly care. I love Christine, but I didn't particularly care because if she don't hear this from somebody that I bled for this sport. You understand me? Y'all see these scars on my face? I paid for the right to say, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? You want the same pay? Bleed the same blood. You want the same kind of treatment? Go through the same stuff I go through. Stop fighting these grandmamas. I'm going to say this and I'm going to go. There's a girl that fought this chick that was 50 plus years old down in Tampa. She fought several old 78-year-old women like that. I was so angry about that because there was no way that they would ever let me fight a man that was that old and that far over the hill in my career. If you want to be treated fairly, equality means equality, equal all the way around. You can't just pick what you want. So if you can't pick your poison. If you want to do this, I'm all for you doing it the same way I do it. And if you can't do it the way I do it, take your money and go home. Invest in wigs and red bottom shoes or whatever it is you do. But you can't just ask to be given something and then get it because you see somebody else with it without putting in the work. Thank y'all very much.
You know what I like to ask? I know we got to go to stuff, but because I wasn't on that segment, but I like to ask, how come there's no women that have stepped up and said, I'll be a promoter and use our own money to start like this league or put on?
They don't make the same money.
You want to know the truth?
Go ahead.
Bill Burr tells a great joke. He said women love to say they want equality, but but no matter what, even the most butch, the butch feminist with the short picture.
Yeah, she'll turn her little about the fire.
Exactly. She said, "Oh my girl, dude." Nobody want to talk about that truth in the game, dude. If y'all want to know why no women, whatever, y'all want to know why no women are promoting. Y'all, I want y'all to listen close. Y'all want to know the fastest way to become a millionaire in boxing? Huh?
I said no.
Sex appeal, what?
Start with 2 million and start promoting fights.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
And if you want to know how to be dead broke, start promoting only girl fights.
Wow.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, there you go. And I got to tell you, to close this out, Christy Martin, she is promoting now. And I didn't get a chance to ask her this, but I looked at her fight card. No women fights.
No women fights. I commentated.
Business is business, bro.
I commentated 2 of her fights. It wasn't a chick on the card that wasn't walking around the ring with a boy in her hand.
Oh,
Every girl that was on her card was doing this here. Round 2.
Think about it. Did Kathy Duva promote women?
Again, only girls you saw on her card I signed one.
I agree.
Did Snooki from Jersey Shore promote women when she got into boxing?
Ooh, we even had her on.
I don't know, but I gotta close the show. So allow me to close the show, guys. I appreciate everybody that was here. We had a great panel. Salute to everybody. Make sure you hit the like button. It's free to hit the like button. I don't know if you know that. Okay, share this video on all your social media platforms. And like always, hey, Chief Funky, this is D-Style Boxing. What do we say?
Keep it boxing.
We're out. Peace.